The Great Demon War occurred 1,000 years ago. One day, demonic beasts suddenly crossed the front lines and attacked humans. Humanity fought against them for survival. The long and endless war continued. The land was stained with blood. As the demonic beasts kept coming, humanity was gradually pushed into a disadvantage. Then, a magician appeared. The magician rode a black dragon, sweeping through the battlefield and defeating the demonic beasts. The overwhelming majesty instilled fear in the beasts. Humanity praised their hero. However, the magician met a mysterious death at the very moment of victory in the Great Demon War. The chosen one, the one obsessed with strength, the one who does not succumb to the temptations of corruption, I await you. With a mysterious beginning, informing about a world of magic or a game. Our story begins welcoming a very good evening to the ladies and gentlemen who are waiting for today's main event. The World Champions' 17th title defense match, and it's about to commence. The challenger in the blue corner. Patrick enters the ring showing overwhelming strength, and next, in the red corner, with 37 fights, 37 wins, also known as the World Champion with a 100% KO rate, named Kim Jin-ho. Our MC steps his foot inside the ring. Since Kim Jin-ho hasn't been using his footwork in recent matches, Patrick speculated in an interview that he might have a leg injury. He will likely target that weakness today. After all, Kim Jin-ho is over 40 years old now. If the injury is real, we might see a new champion crowned today. And just like that, the match begins. Even though Patrick is far from Jin-ho, he can feel his overwhelming presence as expected from a champion. Patrick decides to attack Jin-ho's injured leg, so he goes for a tackle. He is determined to make sure that his opponent can never use that leg again. He smirks as he is about to get the leg, but to his surprise, Kim Jin-ho predicted that, and his perfect spinning kick knocks his opponent out cold. Jin-ho speaks up. He says that this is why he doesn't use his leg since the match becomes too easy. After the match, our MC leaves without attending the press conference. He tells the coach to contact him when the next match is scheduled. The coach tells Jin-ho to just take the car since the weather is unbearable. Jin-ho replies that he will just run to his home because there will be traffic on the road. After hearing it, the coach shouts that the distance is 30 kilometers, but at that moment he is being cornered by the reporters of the press conference. Was the rumor about Kim Jin-ho's leg injury just a planned fake? They question. The coach sighs, thinking that he understands Jin-ho's feelings. From his debut to becoming the champion, the coach was always there. He feels sorry for Jin-ho because until the day he retires, there won't be any opponent that can bring him joy anymore. He replies that there isn't any injury, but Kim Jin-ho took on the penalty himself. Meanwhile, Kim Jin-ho reaches his home on the 34th floor. Upon entering, he takes a shower and goes to his gaming room and starts playing the Control PC game named Last Savior, a game with extreme difficulty, so much so that even Korean users gave up on it. But for the past 10 years, Kim Jin-ho played it every single day, training and honing his skills. Fighting stronger opponents was the goal of his life, but in reality, it has long faded. But here, once again, he can feel it. The feeling of a challenger. So, he wishes that today also he won't be able to beat this game either. He is fighting with his enemy, the Demon King named Izar. After enjoying himself and fighting vigorously, the Demon King's health gets too low. He notices that if he plays it further, it might beat the Demon King, which he doesn't want to. He cheers for the Demon King. He tells the king to fight harder. While fighting, he wonders why Izar's attacking pattern is so simple today, and why he can attack it so swiftly. A challenge. He started because he wanted to win, but now he is in an ironic situation where he is afraid of winning. Encouraging his enemy with words and with his hands, dazzling control. However, in the end, he beats the Demon King. With this, our MC Kim Jin-ho has become a champion of two worlds. He breaks his mouse out of frustration. He whines, asking himself that whom he should fight against? A bear. Suddenly, a thunder strikes at his apartment and an unexpected thing occurs. First of all, he sees darkness. He is dizzy and his whole body feels numb. He hears someone calling him with a number 218. As he opens his eyes, he sees rain. He wonders when did he left his room. A person with a number tag 172 tells him that he has been calling him for a long time. Number 172 mentions that they don't have enough time for this as they need to get out of here as soon as possible. Jin-ho looks around to make sense of the location. He notices a flag with a familiar pattern. He gets puzzled while number 172 starts to shake Jin-ho. He tells Jin-ho to get a grip if he doesn't want to rot here forever. Number 172 says that today might be their last chance to escape this damned carrion. Jin-ho comes back to his senses, hearing the name of a recognizable place. This place is Carrion, you say? He asks while being dumbfounded. Am I dreaming? He asks himself. Meanwhile, everyone is running, and his friend is telling him that they don't have any time to dawdle. They should also try to get out of this place. Judging by the sensations he is feeling, our MC realizes that the game he has really entered the game that he was playing, and now it has become his reality. Number 172 drags Jin-ho, and they both run towards the exit. Everything about this is a mystery, but first Jin-ho thinks that he needs to get out of here, but suddenly he stops. He says that it's strange, and since this place is Carrion, this shouldn't be happening. This is way too careless. His friend replies that it's happening because Director Clark isn't here because he rushed out earlier. Thus, all the prisoners got the chance to escape. Without lingering, Jin-ho drags his subordinate behind. He thinks that the things he heard definitely make sense, but his character's instincts are screaming at him, telling him that he shouldn't, under any circumstances, step beyond the door. The door starts to open, and all the prisoners think that they are finally going to be free. But alas, at that moment, Director Clark appears, cutting the arm of the first prisoner who set his foot beyond the gate. He orders his team to kill all the prisoners who got outside the gate. Each and every prisoner makes a run for it, to enter the prison in order to be safe, but they were all killed in a brief moment. The director orders the other remaining prisoners to round up and tells them not to move. By seeing the dead bodies, number 172 moves and vomits, so he gets a beating from a guard. The guard says that from now on, anyone who moves will be cut down on the spot. Jin-ho sees that this place Carrion is ruthless, even towards children. At this rate, another massacre could break out at any moment, and if that happens, he will have no choice but to fight. The director stands in front of him. Looks like you got lucky. Or rather, were you just too cowardly to even run away? He asks, while calling Jin-ho's character by his family name Arahant. Lastly, before leaving, the director says that Arahant will regret surviving today and he will be looking forward to it. After Clark's departure, Jin-ho gets shocked to hear the name Arahant. 1 week into his life at the labor camp. There is only one daily routine here, which is stacking stone towers, a meaningless task designed solely to torment the prisoners. After spending a few days in this body, he has discovered a few things. First of all, this body is far too fragile. Just lifting a single stone leaves him gasping for breath. His age is roughly 15, and another thing he is worried about is magic. He tried secretly casting a spell at night, but it was a complete failure, and since the Arahant family is one of the greatest mage bloodlines, for him to be incapable of using magic despite being an Arahant is rather unsettling. Maybe that's why he was discarded in this kind of place. Additionally, from the sideline, one of the guards is ordering him around. That aside, he is now thinking about the synchronization progress, which is presently at 78%. He wonders at this rate when it will get to 100%. While eating, he thinks that he has been keeping up with exercise since arriving here, but with meals like these, he may not make it. Today also, He doesn't eat the bread and offers it to the only person he talks with, while the other prisoners go out of their way to avoid Arahant. This guy is a peculiar one. The Arahant family is an unrivaled lineage of mages. There's a certain rumor about Arahant's signature crimson eyes, that those red eyes are a curse brought upon them for slaughtering too many people, and that anyone who locks eyes with them is doomed to die. He perceives that they are about the same age, and they share a room. Since he has no memories from before possessing this body, he wonders why the young lad beside him is also locked up here. Presently, he is being warned by number 172 that he needs to be careful. His subordinate says that, because of Arahant, the workload has increased. The other prisoners aren't too happy about it, which explains the murderous glares he has been getting lately. Number 172 tells Arahant to especially watch out for the prisoner number 589, who is the leader of the prisoners. He had a notorious reputation in the arena. Rumor has it, he's here for murder. Then wouldn't hanging around me put you in danger too? Arahant asks. Number 172 answers saying that still, they have known each other for a while, so he can't just ignore it. Arahant tells his friend to go somewhere else for now since he will just get in the way, because the situation he was worried about just now looks like it's about to unfold. Number 172 looks behind and sees that prisoner number 589, with his fellow followers, has appeared in front of them. The leader is quite angry, since he heard that their workload has increased just because of Arahant. Arahant is just about to speak up, but he is being immediately attacked by the leader. Arahant dodges it, grabs his opponent by shirt, and lands an impact knee kick. Surprisingly, it doesn't work. Rather than getting a scratch, the leader didn't even flinch and took the attack head-on. Instead, the leader throws Arahant towards the wall. Finally, Arahant smirks, since the synchronization progress rate reaches 100% and gets completed. He gets a power-up and gains his previous life's body structure and skills. He does a warm-up before the big fight. He tells the leader to come at him. Firstly, our MC named Zed Arahant uses his left leg to kick the leader, but the leader blocks it. Zed uses his right leg to counterattack, which actually deals damage, and he doesn't stop there. He continuously uses his kick to overwhelm his enemy. Finally, it's a clear knockout, and he says the exact same words from his previously, that this is why he doesn't like to use his legs. All the other prisoners are about to attack Zed. Cleverly, Zed uses the leader as a hostage. He scares the crowd by saying that he may snap an arm of the leader if they don't call the guards here. So, one of the prisoners volunteers to go to the guards. With this, he escapes the scenario, after some time, with the situation being taken care of. Number 172 praises Zed for doing something incredible. When the hell do you learn to do that? And have you always been this tall? He asks because he thought they were the same height. Zed tells him to start lifting stones to get taller. Jokes aside, as expected, synchronization turned his real-world stats into game stats. Though compared to his real body, this is still a child's level. A real status window appears, which he has been dying to check since earlier. His class, traits, stats, even the penalties are clearly shown by the status window. He sees that the amount of mana he has in his body is 0. Although being a mage, his mana is 0, which is quite baffling. From number 172's perspective, it seems that Zed has lost his mind, moving his fingers mid-air while laughing. While laying down, he thinks that he can't believe his character is this much trash, and it's no wonder he got abandoned. Firstly, he decides to calm down and assess the situation. At least his physical stats and senses are maxed at 100, which is a small blessing. There's a suppression penalty, but he thinks that there's no way he could fully utilize 100 stats in this scrawny body anyway, so he mustn't be worried about this for now. The penalty can likely be overcome through training, but his diet is also too poor. Moreover, there are a lot of traits he has never seen before, and surprisingly, every single one of them is Srank. The only ones he recognized from the game are Poison Immunity and Immortal Gambler. If not for the 0 mana, this would be a ridiculously overpowered character. It's a cruel joke that he has Archmage's Blessing even though his mana level is at 0. Well, he decides to figure out the rest in time, since it's not like there's no way to fix the mana issue. At that moment, one of the guards announces that the numbers whom he will be calling should step outside. With that being said, he calls the numbers 114, 456, 891, and lastly, 2918. The 4 of them step outside. "Who are those people?" Zed asks. His friend explains that death row inmates. They're getting their final meal, because before execution, they get to eat whatever they want. Amidst their conversation, Zed notices that he doesn't know the name of number 172, so he asks him while introducing himself. Prisoner number 172 introduces himself as Rui, with no family, basically a street rat. "Rui, do you want to go out of here?" Zed questions. Ryu says that he is obviously not planning to stay here, and he has a reason, and for it, he must leave this place. Zed asks then how Jui is planning to escape. Rui says that the only way is through the front gate, and the warden holds the key. Zed suggests that then they have to take down the director and steal it. Ryu replies that it's an insane idea since the director is a Fifth Circle knight. Zed remembers that Warden Clark is the kind of knight who despises mages. In the last Savior world, knights and mages are mortal enemies. As he was thinking about how to deal with his circumstances, his friend suggests that should steal it. He says that street rats learn to pickpocket even before they learn to speak, but the warden is always surrounded, that's why he can't do it. Zed realizes something and starts to form a plan. The next day, the guard announces to the prisoners that their workload for today has doubled. Some of the prisoners try to retaliate by saying that the same thing is happening many times. One of them calls the warden a bastard, and the guard holds his blade near that prisoner's throat. The guard says that he is just relaying the warden's instructions, and if they complaints, he should take them up with him. "Why are you doing this?" the prisoner asks. "Why?" the guard repeats, as his eyes point at Zed. Everyone stares at Zed, and the guard steps out for a smoke. Ryu says that the situation is getting bad, but Zed tells him to his distance. Zed realizes that the bastard Clark is stirring up a riot. Since he can't attack a single prisoner outright, so he's using the prisoners to do it, and the guards are also on it. That's why he can't let this slide, just like he did yesterday. Meanwhile, Ryu runs away while worrying about his companion. All the enraged prisoners decide to pick a fight with Zed, and everyone surrounds him and starts to attack, but Zed lands the first blow with his unbeatable legs. He knocks down his first opponent. He feels pretty confident as he tells them to come all at once. All the prisoners gang up and run towards him. Using his fists and legs, he knocks a couple of them. One by one, he starts to knock down all of them. From the sidelines, his friend Ryu can't fathom what he is seeing right now. Then, the leader prisoner, number 589, approaches Ryu. On the contrary, Zed is fighting vigorously like a devil incarnate. "This is it," he says, the thrill of dodging an attack and the electrifying sensation of landing a clean hit. Yep, this is the feeling that got him addicted to martial arts. He just wants to taste this satisfying feeling more and more while grinning. At that time, prisoner number 245 uses his foot to draw Arahant's attention. He tells Zed to stop this while holding Ryu hostage. He states that friends are important, but their threatening backfires. Zed tells them that they just made a grave mistake. As the inmates caught Ryu, Zed tells them that they have made a great mistake. The big guy strangles Ryu, and the tall white guy takes in front with a dagger. The guy tells Zed that he should be honored to fight him as an outcast of Arahant with no mana. Saying this, the man jumped to attack. Zed uses his swift movements and get out of there. The attack lands on the ground. The man gets confused to see that Zed has escaped, But as he looks back, he gets shocked to see Zed had already knocked out his buddy and rescued Ryu. The man panics and asks Zed what did he do and if he used magic. Zed replies that he didn't use any magic. Zed then uses his movements and rushed towards the guy. The guy is mesmerized to see the amazing moves of Zed. Zed then kicks in the neck and sent the man flying. At that time, Director Clark comes and calls for Zed. As Zed stands in front of him, he asks Zed to explain this. At that time, Ryu comes running and tells them that Zed is the victim here. Those guys attacked first and tries to kill him, and what Zed did is just self-defense. Clark then looks at the fallen inmates and asks Zed if he had unlocked his mana. Zed shows some attitude and says who knows. This made the director angry. He releases his aura, subdued. All the inmates. Ryu can't stand it, and he falls on the ground, finding it hard to breathe. However, a shocking event unfolds. The director's presence did have any effects on Zed. It made Zed wonders what's going on, as a civilian wouldn't be able to withstand the presence of a Fifth Circle Knight. At that instant, the blue panel appears. It says that due to the trait of noble soul of the champion, the suppression has been resisted. Seeing this, Zed got the answer of this question. He is also happy. So see that this trait of his will help his resist any mental effects. He finds this an overpowered skill. But this thing is justified, as in his past life he was at the pinnacle of the martial arts world, so there is no way a mere Fifth Circle Knight can intimidate him. Clark is shocked to see Zed is fine, even without releasing any mana. He gets furious and increases his aura. The ground cracks and everyone is crawling in the ground, but due to the S-rank trait, Zed is unharmed. He resists all the aura and stands straight and smiles. The director is in awe and wonders what's happening. The others wardens also can't bear it, and they beg the director to stop now. Seeing the situation, Clark cools down. Zed also feels relief at things get ended like this. If the director had angered him and drawn his sword, it would have been a disaster. Clark then starts to leave and tells everyone to get back to their work. At that moment, Zed stops him and tells him to wait for a moment as he has something to say. The director gives an angry look and asked, "What is it?" Zed says, "I'm sick of stacking stones and always being on guard waiting for the prisoners to attack me. So, I've decided to let myself die." Hearing this, Ryu asked him what he means. "Literally, I choose to be a death row inmate," Zed says. Listening this, the director says, "You know what that means, right? I won't tolerate this being just a momentary whim." Zed then tells the director that he should record his words inside a crystal sphere if he is afraid that he will take back his word. Clark laughs and says that there is no better proof than that. He orders the jailer to bring him a crystal sphere. After that, Zed tells him that his last meal will be birdie beefsteak. Hearing this, all the officers get surprised. Birdie beef comes from free-range cattle raised in the Birdie Plains located in the southern part of the empire. It is the highest quality beef in Lazy, Last Saber. It is one of the most exclusive dishes. It is said to be so delicious that it restores lost energy. Some in-game descriptions even mention characters feeling like they could win their next battle after eating it. There was also a quest where it was used as a bribe for NPCs. Zed has an important fight coming up, so he might as well take advantage while he can. Besides, he has always wanted to see if it's really as good as they say. As the director stays silent, Zed speaks and says, "It's the price of my life. Don't you think it's a fair deal? And just so we're clear, I only accept S-grade quality beef. If you try to cheat, I'll cancel the whole deal." Ryu is confused. He looks at Zed. Zed then also includes Ryu in his death sentence. The director gets convinced and orders his officers to gather the items of the last meal. Ryu is shocked as nobody even asked about his opinion. Birdie beef is so rare that acquiring it takes at least a week. During that time, Zed won't have to go out to work. While Zed was receiving food from the guards, he devoted himself entirely to training. As Zed is doing push-ups in the cell, Ryu asked him why is he working out, even though he is going to die soon. Lace has a special system that is if a stat reaches its maximum value, 100, the experience gained transfers to another stat, and except for mana, all Zed's stats are maxed out, which means all the experience he earned here has no choice but to increase only his mana. In that instant, a jailer comes and tells Ryu and Zed to step out. Zed gets happy and says that finally it's time. After that, the two of them are taken to the dining area. The whole table is decorated with birdie beef steak. Ryu takes a bite and cries out of joy. Ryu has never eaten something so delicious. Zed tells him to thank him for this later. Zed also finds the taste incredible. But the most amazing thing is that his penalty is being reduced partially. After that, they starts to stuff beef steak into their mouth. On the other side, we can see Clark is his office. A officer come and tells him that the last meal has begun. Clark tells him not to let anyone close them. Clark is lost in the thought of what happened that day. He can't figure out how Zed resist his suppression. He thinks that even though he is a retired Fifth Circle Knight, there is no way Zed, who has no mana, resist him. He thinks that something was wrong on that day. So Toady, he wants to confirm it with the help on this item. On the other side, Ryu and Zed has finished eating. They filled their stomach with the birdie beef. Now Zed can feel the energy overflowing his body. He is eager to test his strength now. At that time, the director enters. Clark calls for Zed. He gets closer and puts his hand on Zed's shoulder. He smiles looking at Zed's face and thinks that he will smash that unlucky face until Zed writhes in pain. Director Clark wants to get a little information about the top-tier magic Arahant family. He wants to threaten Zed and squeeze all the information he can, as this will be a huge gain for him. He uses the bracelet magic to subdue Zed. The bracelet starts to shine, and after a while, B releases immense amount of mana. The director laughs in the thought that how Zed would crawl after this. However, to his surprising, Zed is unharmed. He stands and gives him a nice smile. Ryu can't bear it, and he falls on Clark. Clark immediately pushed him aside. Ryu is screaming in pain. Zed tells the director to stop now. Clark shouts at him and grabs his shoulders and release all his aura. But Zed is completely fine. He simply pushed the warden's hand and tells him to stop already, and says if he is trying to kill him, he should do it properly with a legal execute, not just like Madman. The director backs off. He is a huge shock. He can't fathom that why his magic, even after using the magic tool, don't have any effect on Zed. The only logical explanation he has it that Zed is a Sixth Circle mage, but that can't be possible, so he thinks that this is the power of the Arahant bloodline. Clark's heart is broken, even though he dedicated his whole life and reached the Fifth Circle, but it's a shame that he can't even make a young mage kneel. The magic tool also shuts down. Zed asked him if he is trying to dig his own grave. The warden remains silent. He lowers his head and starts to leave. While leaving, he says Zed that the execution will be carried out tomorrow morning. Even the great Arahant can't ignore the laws set by His Majesty the Emperor. He tells Zed to enjoy his last night. After that, the warden returns to his office, even though he didn't get any information, but he decides to write today's incident in his diary. Then is the midnight. Zed and Ryu are in their cell. Ryu gets up feeling nauseous. Zed told him put out the act as he is completely fine as he has manual dexterity. Ryu then smiled and showing the keys to Zed, he asked, "How is his skill?" Zed tells him that he has done a good job. Ryu being's humble and says that he was only able to steal it as the warden was only focused on Zed. He asked Zed if he is fine. Zed replies that he is fine. Ryu gets a bit suspicious and asks Zed if there is something he is hiding. Zed replies him to lift some stones, and he will be also fine. After that, Zed looked at his states and sees that the penalty is reduced by 10. He feels different from before. His senses are amplified, and his strength also increased. Seeing this changes, he wants to remove the penalty quickly. Zed tells Ryu to rest completely, and after that, they will leave this place. Ryu suggests that they should leave right now, or else the warden will notice them. Zed tells him not to worry as the warden is knocked out right now. Ryu asked, "How is he so sure?" Zed knows this because of the magic bracelet. The bracelet increases the magic for a moment, but it accumulates tons of fatigue. We can see that the warden is passed out in his table. Zed's plan gets smoother, as the warden has come to the hall with the key and the magic bracelet. After resting for a while, they gets ready to get out. As Ryu is questioning about the safety, Zed tells him to stay behind if he is so sacred. Ryu decides to go with Zed, but the problem is, there is no key for the cell door. Ryu asked Zed what they should do now. Zed pushed Ryu and kicked the gate open. Ryu is shocked to see this strength and asked Zed if he really is a mage. As they step out, the guards come hearing the noise. Zed and Ryu rushed seeing them. They gets out of the building and runs in the ground, but the front gate is blocked by the guards. Zed tells Ryu to never stop running and he rushed forward. The knight attacks him, but he dodges and punched the knight in the face. He throws one knight to the others and make many guards fall. He keeps going. He knocks out the guards that come his way. He reaches the middle and starts to take on the knights one by one. The knights come at his will, all might, but Zed uses his brute strength and techniques to knocks them. He single-handedly defeated all the guards. Ryu finds this scene's amazing. After a while, the director comes and sees all the guards crawling on the ground. Zed and Ryu escaped successfully. Seeing this, the director gets mad and he orders to capture them immediately. Zed and Ryu comes to Mata Village. This is a nearby village by the detention center. They hide in a container until no one is following them. After a while, they comes out and Zed asked Ryu, "Where is this?" Ryu tells him that this is a small town called Mata, and this the only village close to the detention center. Zed asked him why did they come here as the guards will search this place first. "We have no choice. Other cities are too far, but if we blend in with the people, we'll be safe," Ryu replies. Ryu then gives some cloth to Zed and tells him to wear this as it will make them look like beggars and they will be safe. The both of them changed, and Ryu tells Zed to stay here quietly, and he will bring in some supplies. Zed asked how he will manage it without money. Ryu smiles and tells him he don't need money. He will steal them. Ryu then leaves telling Zed not to move anywhere, and he will come back quickly. After 1 hour, Ryu comes back with a pair of color-changing lenses. Zed wears them, and his eye color turns blue. This thing is a must for them, as red color eye is a symbol of Arahant family, and blue color eyes are a symbol for Bahal family that is in the south, and among the warriors the blue eye is like an accessory. Hearing the name of Bahal family Jinho, remember of his character. His character's name was Torres Bahal. With his character he finished this game. Arahant are known for mage and Bahal are known for swordsman. Just as their worldviews hate each other, their eye color are opposite. After that, Ryu takes Zed to a place where they can sleep at night. As they lay down on the hay, Zed wonders how did he end up waking up in the game. However, he finds this interesting. He also wants to know why Ryu is sticking with him even though he knows that Clark is after him. Zed knows nothing about Ryu, he just knows that Ryu is a pickpocket from the streets. But for now, he needs Ryu's help, so he will stick together with him. In the next morning, Zed wakes up. He is amazed that he really sleep in a place like this. At that time, Ryu also wake up and says that this place is really uncomfortable for a noble like him. Zed stands up and says that he need to earn money as he need to eat. Ryu suggests him to pickpocket as finding a work will make them caught by the guards. Zed gets out and tells Ryu to forget pickpocketing and quickly find this place he is talking about. Ryu asked, "What is this?" "The underground arena," Zed replies. The scene shifts and we can see the underground arena. In the ring, 2 men are fighting. In that time, Zed and Ryu enters the arena. Inside the arena, everyone is enjoying the fight. Ryu gets sacred seeing this. He asks Zed if this is really the right place. Zed replies that they are exactly where they need to be. In the ring, the fight is getting fiercer. The black man bites the other's fighter's shoulder, but it is of no use, and he gets a solid punch at the face. The black guy gets back, but the red-haired man continues his punches. The black guy gets hit in the ribs. This make the crowd shout in enjoyment. The red-haired man name is Ikas. The audience is supporting him, and they are cheering him to kill the black man. Zed seems expressed to see this fight. He didn't expect that this low-life brawl will be so interesting. Seeing the bloody fight, Ryu gets scared, and he requests Zed to leave this place. In the ring, Ikaz is dominating the opponent. He rushed and punched on the face. The black man's nose rupture and blood starts to come out of the nose. Ikaz didn't stop there. He punched continuously on the man's face. Everyone is enjoying it, but Ryu is a bit terrorized. He looks for Zed, but Zed was not there. Everyone in the gallery gets surprised to see Zed has interfered the fight, and he stops Ika's punch and says that's enough. The opponent is already unconscious. Ikas looks at Zed's eyes. Ryu sees this and gets nervous. He wonders what Zed is trying to do. Zed then asks the referee why isn't he concluding the match. Is he perhaps been bribed? Ikas then freed his hand and back off and asked, "Who is he?" Ikas is cautious to take action, as if Zed is a noble man-child. The backlash will be too much for him to handle. Zed replies that he is just a beggar. The audience gets surprised hearing this. Zed then take a fighting stand. The audience gets mad and tell Ikas to kill this filthy beggar. Zed points his finger to Ikas and says that he will take responsibility and fight Ikas. He then looks at Ryu and tells him to watch carefully as he will show them something funny. Ryu gets closer to Zed and shouts at him. Zed told him to shout up and bet everything penny on him. Ryu tries to convince him one last time, but Zed stops him and says that after this, they will go to eat steak at a restaurant. After that, the match starts. At first, Ikas thought of him as a foolish beggar, but after see Zed's stand, he gets serious. Ikas feels a different aura from the stand. He has never seen or heard anything like this before. Seeing this, he starts to feel nervous, but he overcomes it and rushed to attack. As he gets closer, Zed lands the first hit on Ikas' face. Ikas is bleeding from his nose. He is also confused as he can't grasp what just happened. Zed give him some pointers and punch his continuously. He is completely overwhelming Ikas. Ikas is taking all the punches as he can't find a single gap to strike back. Zed uses his weight to make his punches stronger. He punched on the face and breaks Ika's front teeth. Ryu closes his eyes from the beginning and prays for Zed. As he opens his eyes, he gets surprised to see Ikas has been pushed back. After taking all the hits, Ikas is on the brink of losing his consciousness. However, he didn't give up, he attacks, but Zed dodges it and punched Ikas' face. Zed lands a final punch and Ikas falls on the ground. Zed looks at the referee and asks what is he doing. The referee then looks at a side, and after that, he declares Zed the winner. Later on, we can see at the front desk is complaining that he didn't get all the money from the bet. The man tells Zed that he gave all the money. Zed then looks at Ryu and sees that he is nervous. He asked Ryu that how much did he bet. Ryu says that he didn't bet all. He leaves some so that after that they have something to eat. As Zed and Ryu is arguing at that time, a lady comes with 2 guards and talks with Zed. Zed asked her who is she. The lady says that her name is Herna and she is the manager of this arena. The lady wants to offer something to Zed, but before hearing it he refused and starts to walk away. The 2 guards stand in his way to stop him. Zed threatened them to move aside if they don't want to end up like Ikas. Even after hearing this, the guards didn't flinch a bit. The fighter you defeated today, Ikas, was a champion. I personally scouted from the big cities. I'm sure you understand what I'm trying to say. I'll let you go for today, but we'll meet again. Next time, let's talk in a more comfortable setting. I really like strong people. The lady says this to Zed and leaves. Later, Zed and Ryu gets into a restaurant. They sit there and Ryu is starving. He tells Zed not to get on the bad side of Herna. as on the surface she just looks like a arena manager, but in reality, she is the hidden power behind this city. Zed tells Ryu that to him, Herna looks like a old fox obsessed with money. Ryu, yes, you get that right. Herna's nickname is Old Fox. Zed gets that Herna has reached him so that she can use him to earn profit. It was the same when he first stepped into the world of combat sports. The moment he started making a name for himself, all sorts of management agencies came knocking on his door. Most of them saw his talent as nothing more than a tool for profit. He even got scammed multiple times. Back then, he was just a knave kid from the countryside, brimming with dreams. However, meeting his current manager was a stroke of luck. After all, it was thanks to him that Zed became a champion. Zed is no longer that clueless country boy, easy prey for opportunists. He is a fighter who's endured countless battles and clawed his way to the top, a champion. As Zed is thinking this at that time, the birdie beefsteak they orders has been served. Ryu can't hold himself and starts to dig in. Zed stops him and says that the meat is fake. The color and marbling is completely off. Zed's suspicion gets clear when he recalls that the warden at the detention center needed a whole week to get his hands on this. So how come it is readily available in the next city? Birdie beef is very expensive and incredibly rare, so there is no way they could serve these many customers. Ryu tells him to leave. Everything has the same taste when it's in the stomach. Zed don't want to let it go, as paying for birdie beef and getting is fake as a scam. Zed calls the waiter. The waiter comes with an attitude. He tells Zed to stop wasting their time and finish eating. Zed tells him that this isn't the thing he ordered. He specifically ordered birdie beef. Huh? Do you even know where you are? That kind of nonsense might work out on the streets, but not here. The waiter says this. Zed tells him to stop and get the owner. This punk has no fear, the waiter says. As the waiter says this, Zed starts to shouts that attracts the attention of the other customers. To handle the situation, the waiter tells him to quiet and follow him. The waiter takes them to the boss. Ryu and Zed gets into a room full of men with cleavers in their hand. The boss of the restaurant is sitting in the middle. So, you're the punky-ass brats causing trouble? The boss says. Zed replies that they are the punk ass. As they are selling counterfeit meat, the boss tells him that he should know how to read the room. I don't care about reading the room. What I do care about is how blind you are to the situation. If you pick a fight with me, which one of us do you think will end up dead? Zed says. Hearing this, the men rush to attack. Zed starts to knock out them one by one. One punch from him is enough to make the men unconscious. Within seconds, he defeated the 4 men. He slams the last one on the ground. The boss is scared to see this. Ryu cheers and says that you don't know with whom you picked a fight with. This is the man who beat Ikas with bare hands. The boss then asked what they wants from him. Zed gets closer and says he has two conditions. First, he has to return the money they took from him. And second, from now on, they will cover the cost of every beef meal he eat here, at the price of vertigrade beef. The boss has no choice, so he accepted it. Later at night, Zed and Ryu gets to a nice inn. Ryu is happy to see how soft the bed is. He looks at Zed and says that he is impressive. They talk about the red face of the restaurant owner, and after a while, the two of them fell asleep. In the midnight, Ryu suddenly gets up, and he slowly calls for Zed. As Zed didn't respond, Ryu dressed up and gets out of the room. Zed noticed it, but he didn't speak about it. Few days has passed. They are leaving in the city. In the morning, Ryu and Zed wakes up and Zed starts his daily workout. Ryu asked him that why is he working so hard, as usually mages don't work out. He asked if he is doing this because he has no mana. Zed tries to avoid it, saying that's something like that. Zed then looks at his status window and sees that his mana is 0. Even though he work out a lot, but his mana score didn't change a bit. As the training is over, Zed feels hunger, so he tells Ryu to get ready, as they will go to eat. Ryu asked where they will go. Zed says that they will go to the beef restaurant Todi, as it's been a while they visited there. They hadn't gone back to the steakhouse for 3 days. The reason was simple. Even extortion has its limits, and they didn't want to push their luck. More importantly, they had already devoured 10 servings on the first day, so money wasn't an issue. While walking, Zed asked Ryu how much gold they have. Ryu says that they don't have much as the prices of the city is high. Zed finds this fishy as he has already played this game for 10 years and he knows the market price, and spending 50 gold in few days means they have to throw away money. At that moment, Zed didn't ask Ryu anything about this, and he wants to find out what Ryu is doing behind his back. As they arrived at the restaurant, the waiter quickly informs the owner about it. The man tells the waiter to give them that he had prepared before. The waiter politely guides Zed and Ryu to a private room. The meat is already served on the table. Zed finds a bit strange, as the waiter's attitude is so friendly toady. He scanned the place as they entered, but he didn't find any signs of assassination. Everything seems normal as usual. Ryu then takes the meat and tells Zed that it's specially made and wrapped with some herbs. He tells Zed to quickly dig in. Zed then takes a meat, and as he is about to bite it, he shouts and tells Ryu to stop eating. Hearing this, Ryu starts to vomit and asks Zed if he is going. "You'll die." Zed tells him not to worry, as this small amount of poison won't affect at all. Zed now gets that owner is planning. Due to Zed's S-guard trait, absolute poison resistance, he is not affected at all. This trait is obtained upon consuming all types of poison in the Empire. When Zed played this game, he suffered a lot to gain this amazing trait. Ryu then asked Zed that how did he find that it is poison as it had no taste and smell. Zed replies that he is arahant, that why he knows that. Ryu then suggests that they should run away as the owner is trying to kill them. Zed says that they won't run, rather they will make them pay. After that, Zed called the owner to come to him. As the boss comes, he shouts at Zed and tells him to just eat all the meat quickly and not to boss people around. Zed gives a sinister smile and says, "I just called you to clear up some misunderstandings. There are a few things I want to ask." Seeing the plates clean, the owner thinks that Zed and Ryu has eaten all the meat. He is happy to think that the poison will kick in soon. He acts cocky and says, "What misunderstanding? You're just a bunch of thugs who threaten people and steal their money." Zed tells him that he misunderstood him and tells the owner to share a meal with him so that all the ill relationship between them is gone. Ryu then brings a wrapped meat and tells the owner to eat it. The man seems nervous and asked why is he giving this to him. Zed tells him that he is offering this as a gesture of reconciliation, and if he accepts it, he'll remove the second condition from last time. The owner says that he has no intention of making peace with bastards like them. That's strange. Do you actually want to keep getting extorted, or do you have another reason for not eating? Like, if the meat was poisoned? Zed says this. Hearing this, the man startles and says, "What nonsense are you spouting?" Zed then pushed away the table and shows all the meat is on the ground. Seeing this, many thoughts come of the man's mind. He wonders how did Zed find out it was poisoned. Zed then asks the man that how dare he poisoned his food. The boss clams himself down and he tells Zed to prove that the meat was poisoned. Zed tells him that he has proof, and saying this, he reveals his red eyes. The man immediately recognizes that this is arahant eyes and fall on the ground out of fear. Zed threatens that man that he will die for deceiving an arahant. The man gets terrified, he don't know what to do. He kneels down and begs Zed to forgive him. He tells Zed that his name is Jamp and admits that he has done wrong with him and begs for his forgiveness. Why would a Western arahant come all the way to this rural part of the South? Why didn't he reveal his identity from the start? Why did he act like a lowly wanderer? Jamp was so consumed by fear that he couldn't even form these natural doubts. And as Zed watched Jamp, who was crying like a child and begging for mercy, he once again realized the overwhelming power an arahant held. Zed then tells Jamp that he will forgive him if he agrees this two conditions. First, he can't reveal Zed's identity to anyone, and second, he will hand over half of his wealth. The man agrees and tells Zed that he will give him the money right away. Jamp then goes to bring the money. At that time, Lady Herna enters the room and tells Zed that he turned out to be quite an impressive person. Hearing this, Zed wonders if Herna knows that he is Arahant, or if Jamp told her about him in this short period of time. But seeing Jamp's terrified face, Zed gets that Jamp won't tells about him. So Tyr is only one place from where Herna got information about him. Zed gets that he can't stay here longer as the warden will be here at any time. After that, Herna suggests that they should talk in private. Zed agrees, and the three of them sits on a table. Zed asked her why is she looking for him and if she has some business with him. Herna says that she is not here to meet with him. Rather, she is here to meet with his client. Hearing this, Zed gets that Ryu is the client she is talking about. As Zed looks at Ryu lowers his head and apologizes to Zed for hiding this from him. Herna then tells Ryu that she looked up at that request, but she needs more money for that. What? No, this wasn't the deal. Do you know how much I already paid you? Ryu says. That amount barely covers my daily meal expenses. Do you think finding your missing sibling is an easy task? Someone whose whereabouts, life or death is completely unknown. Haran says this to Ryu. Hearing this, Ryu breaks up and starts to cry. He says how could she do this as this is his last hope? Zed interrupts and tells Herna that if she accepts Ryu's request, he will accept her. Haran agrees and tells Zed that he has to fight Ikas one more time. Zed accepts the rematch and tells her to proceed with Ryu's request. After that, the meeting ends, and Ryu and Zed starts to walk towards the inn they are staying. Ryu is looking down, so Zed asked him why he is so down, as now they have lots of money. Ryu says sorry to Zed for stealing the money and not telling him about this matter. He also says that he never intends to betray Zed. Zed tells him that he knows from the starts that he pocketed some extra money, but he was unaware of the dealing he had done with Herna. Then why did you pretend not to know? Ryu asked. Because I didn't care. I figured the help you gave me was worth at least that much, but we can't let this happen again. From now on, don't hide anything, just tell me everything. The worst thing in this world is repaying trust with betrayal. No matter how rough your background is, don't become trash. Zed says this to Ryu. Ryu says that he understands it after a while. Ryu tells Zed not to do the rematch, they will just run with his money. Hearing this, Zed asked what about his request regarding his siblings. Ryu tells that he don't think Herna will proceed with his request, she will just backstab them. Ryu wasn't foolish enough to be scammed by someone like Herna. But the fact that he still went to her showed how desperate he was. Because he was so desperate, Knee grabbed onto a rotten rope, even knowing it might snap. And Herna was the kind of adult who would betray a desperate child. Zed tells Ryu that he know that about Herna, and he was planning to leave, but he changed his mind. Ryu tries to convince him to leave, as the rematch is a trap for Zed. Zed don't want to run away. He tells Ryu that when he sees trash, he wants to clean it. And defeating an opponent who has given their all is the most exhilarating feeling. At the same time, in the Carrion Detention Center. The officers are in rush. The director tells them to assemble quickly and move out, starting with the vanguard. The director is furious as he wants to catch Zed Arahant at all cost. 3 days later, at the underground arena, Ikas and Zed are ready to fight. The seats are all filled and people are cheering for Ikas. Ikas seems quite confident, and Zed wonders the reason behind it. Ryu is worried, and he tells Zed to promise that if things gets out of his way, he will surrender immediately. At last, the match begins. 2 of them stands in front of each other. The audience is surprised to see the new stance of Ikas. Ikas is copying Zed. Herna told Ikas about Zed being an Arahant with no mana. This gives Ikas more confidence. He is the one to make the first move. Ikas' attacks are like Zed's. After seeing Zed's techniques from the last match, Ikas practiced them, and now he gets how useful Zed's techniques are. This also surprised Zed a bit, as he didn't expected this. Zed successfully dodged all the attacks. His eyes caught on the belt that Ikas is wearing. After that, Zed sees a gap and punched Ikas on the face. Ikas is unharmed. He laughs at Zed, saying that he is a weakling without any mana. Zed finds Ikas' toughness a bit unusual. Some people in the audience also find something as strange. Zed thinks about it, and he gets that this toughness is coming from the belt Ikas is wearing. The belt is an item name, Orge's belt. It negates 90% of only physical damage completely. For a person with no mana, this is the most difficult opponent. Ryu gets worried seeing that Zed's attacks have no effect, no Ikas. Ryu tells Zed that Herna has done something and he requests to leave the match. Zed looks at Ryu and tells him to just sit back and watch. Seeing Zed standing still, Ikas asks if he is sacred and is willing to give up. Zed replies no way. He says that he is a little surprised, but he was waiting for this moment. Saying this, Zed changed his stance and launched a kick and hit Ikas. Ikas gets a concussion and he is unable to do anything. Zed continues his kicks and pushed back Ikas. Zed is enjoying this. The strongest man on earth, Man Kim Jin Ho, aka Zed. Right now, for the first time, he felt true excitement. No one had ever lasted more than a minute against him. Because of that, he never even had a chance to fully use his skills. But look at Ikas, even after all those kicks, he's still standing. For Zed, or rather, Kim Jin Ho, this was a first. Zed is about to launch a high kick, seeing his Ikas guards his face. Zed changes the trajectory in the midway and hits the ribs. This makes Ikas lower his hand. As his face is unguarded, Zed kicks on the face followed by a kick in the stomach. Ikas' face turns red in pain. Zed continues to kick and Ikas is on the verge of fainting. Ikas' full body is covered in bruise. He can't predict the attacks of Zed at all. Zed gets so hyped up that his contact lens are slowly changing colors. Ikas wants to forfeit, but Zed didn't let his say this. He strikes on Ikas' chin with his knee. The crowd gets silent seeing this one-way beating. Zed kicks the belt and breaks it. As the belt breaks, the pain in the Ikas' body amplifies and he falls in his knees. Zed looks at him and says, "What's wrong? Aren't you getting up?" Ikas is scared, and he thinks Zed is crazy. Ikas tells that he lost, and he calls for the referee to call off the match. But Zed stomps on his face and says, "No, that's not enough." At that time, Zed's lens fall off, revealing his red eyes. Seeing this, Ikas passed out. Zed feels a weird sensation like some kind of power forming in his heart. The power starts to move through his body. At that time, he looks at the status window and sees that his mana value has increased to 1. Now finally obtaining mana, Zed feels happy. By this time, the audience finds that Zed is from the Arahant family, and they stood there silently. Zed don't what why they are behaving strangely. Ryu gets on the ring and tells Zed that his lens has fallen and his red eyes are revealed. The audience starts to panic and rushed out of the stadium. Zed and Ryu also starts to run away as the guards will be there in no time. Herna is the only one sitting. She is frustrated to see this crushing defeat. She then gets up with the resolve to finish Zed. Herna has lost so much money because of Zed. Ikas is a top-class player who was brought in from a big city for a large sum of money. The contract fee was 600 gold coins for 3 years. But because of this incident, all that money is now completely lost. In addition, the ogre's belt was 200 gold coins, and 200 gold coins went to the Carrion Camp director, making the total amount lost 2,000 gold coins. This loss is too much for Herna. She screams like a madman and says that she will make Zed pay for it. In the meantime, Zed and Ryu takes all the money and buy lenses for Zed and are hiding in the alley. The village is already swarming with guards. There is no escape for them, so Zed and Ryu hides themselves in buckets. After a while, as the guards passed by, Ryu gets out to see the situation. As he is about to get out, their way is blocked by a carriage. The henchman tells Zed and Ryu that Lady Herna has sent him. He tells them to get in, and he will take them to a safe spot where Herna is waiting for them. Seeing no other way, them gets inside. Ryu asks Zed if it's okay for them to go. Zed replies that it is 100% a trap. Ryu questioned that, then why did they get on? Zed tells him that there is no way out for them, so they have to encounter this to resolve this problem. Ryu is scared and says that they are going to die toady. After a while, the carriage stops as they get out. They are surrounded by the guards. Herna is also there. She is standing beside the warden. The warden asks them, how did they manage to escape? The two of ignores and Ryu asks Zed, what will they do now? The warden gets angry and asks how dare he stole the key from him. Herna smiles and tells Zed that this situation won't arise if he had just joined hands with her. Zed tells her that never work with her in a million years as he don't plan to die obediently. The warden then steps forward and tells Zed that he will die toady. Zed tells Ryu to stay back and moves towards the warden. The warden praises Zed's braveness. Zed then tells that the percentage to winning is 50-50, a 50% chance of winning. This is Zed's own spell that keeps him from being intimidated when facing the strong and part of not letting his guard down. Even if the warden is a knight of the fifth circle, if the probability here is still half-half, then there is no need for Zed to be scared. The warden unsheathes his sword and starts to radiate aura. Zed also takes his flight stance. Warden moves first. He rushed with his sword to attack. Zed finds this moment quite thrilling. This reminds him about the past when he was a challenger. His S-rank trait challenger of strong will actives. This increases all his states by 10 for a short period of time. As Zed's mana increased, the lenses in his eyes breaks apart, revealing the red eyes. As the warden's strike lands, it creates a huge explosion. Seeing this, Ryu gets worried about Zed. Warden is a bit confused as Zed is not there. The strike hits the ground and cuts it. Zed then calls the warden's name, Clark. I am here. Zed is flying in the air and thunder is covering his body. He acquires a new form, called electrification. Clark is startled to see this. Zed then launched kick, and the warden blocks it with his sword. Zed's strength overpowers Clark and pushes him back. Warden Clark is surprised. He asks Zed how this is possible, how he awakened the thunder power. Thunder is a special power that can ignore all four elements of water, wind, earth, and fire. It is the power all magicians long for. It's the only power that even the legendary first head of the Arahant family couldn't obtain. Seeing this, all the guards along with Herna get surprised. Ryu is in awe seeing the power of Zed. Clark thinks that this is the power of the bloodline, and he is person who despise those who only relies on the power of the bloodline. Seeing this, he gets angrier. Clark then starts to attack vigorously. His attacks are power and destroying the surrounding. Zed's agility is above Clark, so he dodges all the attacks swiftly. Seeing this, Clark increases his speed and finally caught Zed. But Zed's body is protected with his shield. Now, Zed makes his move and rushed to attack. He punched directly in the stomach. This turns Clark's face red, and he screams his pain. Having the power of electrification in his arsenal, the tide of the battle has changed. Zed overpowers the warden by dealing an impactful punch. Well, the warden is in utter shock. He wonders why he is getting punched, even though he is fighting a mage. Mages use magic to keep knights at a distance, and knights break through that magic to get close. That has always been the law of this world, an unbroken rule throughout history. But now that rule has been broken by a boy who uses fists, channeling magic through it. The warden moves backwards in order to create distance for his next assault. But to his surprise, Zed immediately closes the distance and attacks, not giving his opponent an opening to counterattack. Finally, Zed deals the last powerful punch, which sends his enemy flying. The director laughs as he accepts defeat and offers his life to the victor while saying that this type of power is expected from an arahant. "Do you want to know why you lost?" Zed asks. The director doesn't want to hear it and tells Zed to kill him. Zed replies that there's only one reason for his victory, and that's simply because he worked harder and he trained more. "Don't talk nonsense. It's because you're an Arahan. You were born different. That's the only reason," the warden shouts in anger. Moreover, he says that talented people like Zed doesn't understand the struggles of the untalented. Zed states that, right now, he is weaker than the director. If he had more experience and reacted better, of course, Zed would have lost. But the warden's inferiority complex has blinded him, and that's what stopped him from progressing. Zed says that people shouldn't look for the reason for their defeat elsewhere, since the reason lies solely within themselves. After hearing all of it, the director smiles as he is reminded of chivalry by a young mage. "Enough! Just kill me already!" he asks, since his pride is at stake. Zed thinks that this will be troublesome. If he kills the warden here, the Empire will put out a bounty on him, but he can't just leave him be either. While thinking, his S-level skill-tenacious challenger wears off, making a halt to his electrification. Seeing an opportunity, Herna orders the guards to attack Zed, and by judging the number of people, the situation can become a disadvantage for Zed. Suddenly, a smoke-like wind, in fact, a storm blows, blinding Zed and everyone. He predicts that this is someone's magic and decides to get out of it quickly, but by the time the storm clears, all that there's left are the corpses of his enemies. They all died without a single scream, even Herna and the warden. Well, he is not the lone survivor. His friend Ryu, who has been hiding near the bushes, is also safe, and he comes out. After coming out of hiding, he asks Zed whether he is the one who killed them all. Zed replies that he believes it was done by a high-ranking mage. They decide to leave quickly, but Ryu finds a mysterious card, which is way too clean as if it was dropped just now. So they leave the area with the card, and we see a mysterious man lurking in the shadows, wearing a black outfit. At night, they campfire, and Zed looks at the card. He channels a little mana into it, and just as he thought, it is indeed a magical card. It's a card used by secret organizations to exchange coded messages, and this emblem. It's Arahant's Black Flame. Furthermore, there is an organization named the Arahant's Black Mirror Corps. They swear absolute loyalty only to the head of the Arahan family. Both their scale and missions are shrouded in secrecy. The Empire's largest and most elite secret organization. At the back of the card, the number 4 is written. If he remembers correctly, 1 means acceptance or affirmation, 2 means rejection or denial, 3 means negotiation or proposal, and 4 means observation or protection. Arahant is protecting me? They discarded me for having no mana, but now they change their minds, he thinks. Then he remembers that now he has his mana stat, so he looks into it. After defeating Clark, some of the penalty was lifted, and his mana even increased by 2. He thinks whether this world have an experience system like the game. He unblocked a new skill, which is Transcendent Form Magic that greatly enhances physical abilities while also generating a shield. It's currently inactive, probably because his stats are too low. He concluded that he may need to increase his mana value to 5 or 10 to activate this skill. At that time, Ryu says that he can't sleep because he is thinking about what to do next. Zed replies that they are to Prilda. Ryu reminds Zed that earlier, he mentioned that they didn't find the coachman's body. That means rumors must have spread by now and the Empire will soon issue a warrant. More importantly, they can't reach Prilda without a carriage. It's too far to walk to. Zed says that they need to adjust their route a bit. They are going to Tamaya. At that time, at Tamaya village in the Southern Front's outpost. Some people are summoned. Amongst them, a recognizable character is seen, which was Kim Jin-ho's main character when he played the game. The character says that he will begin the search immediately, that he, Torres Bahal, will hunt down the dishonorable Arahants and execute them. Later, Torres goes to answer the call of the Lord. The Lord states that a mission has come up for Torres. An Arahant who was imprisoned in the Carrion Detention Center. A few years ago has escaped from the facility and is now on the run after killing the warden and several people from Motor City. He says that he leaves everything to Torres. As Bahal's successor, he should judge for himself and uphold the honor of the family. Torres says that he, Torres Bahal, will stake his life to carry out the Lord's command. It's been 5 days since Zed and Ryu have been walking. Ryu says that no matter how he thinks about it, it's complete madness that they are walking straight into the front lines. On the outskirts of the Empire, there is a front line to block the demonic beasts. Each family is assigned a designated area, and the southern region belongs to Bahal. The place they are heading to, Tamaya, is a village located at that very front line where demonic beasts occasionally cross over. The reason they are heading to this village, which is practically a forward base, is because there is a transportation gate there. It's so expensive that even most nobles can't easily use it, but well, they have plenty of money. Ryu says that Zed will only realize its madness after getting torn apart by a demonic beast. Zed replies that this is the best option available for them. While camping at night, they suddenly feel a vibration which indicates someone is approaching. They put off the fire and decide to go into hiding. "Don't tell me, is it really a demonic beast?" Ryu asks. Zed replies that he would be happy if rather it be that, honestly. Zed feels that it's not just one or two. There's at least dozens of vibrations. There's no way that many demonic beasts could have slipped past the southern front line under Bahal's watch. If that's the case, then it can be Bahal's team itself. He sees a white horse with blue eyes, which indicates that it's the Bahal Knights. Even at a rough count, there are more than 50 of them. Zed wishes that they just keep going without looking back. Alas, the Knights find traces of campfire. Zed concludes that the Knight Order requires at least 5th Circle mages to join. In other words, there are at least 50 Knights of Clark rank. So if they stay hidden, it's only a matter of time before they are discovered. Ryu says that at least Zed should run. He can make it, because even if they spare him, they'll definitely kill Zed. "Don't be so dramatic. They wouldn't actually kill us, right?" Ryu asks. Zed replies that Ryu himself is shaking like a leaf while giving this suggestion. He tells Ryu not to worry because he still has a way that might work. At the next moment, where hiding and running away was no longer an option, Zed reveals himself thinking about the card given by the Arahant and introduces himself. Since the number 4 means under observation and protection, they might as well see for themselves. If they are going to die anyway by staying put, they might as well try something instead of regretting it. As he is about to say that he will like to speak with the leader, he is immediately attacked, and the guy who is attacking is way faster than he expected. Zed tells them to wait as he wants to talk things out, but the guy doesn't stop his attack. To his surprise, his sword was stopped. In fact, it was blocked by another person. Zed thought they might be watching from somewhere, but he didn't expect them to be this close. Even with a perception stat of 100, he didn't sense them at all. Yes, this is Arahant's Black Mirror Corps, who have come to the rescue. The leader tells the knights to turn back. Doing so, nothing will happen and they will be safe. "Who dares to stand in Bahal's way?" Torres Bahal asks, while taking the lead. The Black Mirror Corps sees that Torres Bahal, the successor of the Bahal, has arrived. Torres Bahal's presence is so familiar to Zed that it feels like a part of him, because it's the character he played the longest, the one who stood with him until the very end. He knows this isn't the time, but seeing Torres in person, it's really nostalgic. The group leader of the Black Mirror Corps tells Zed Arahant to leave quickly so that nothing will happen. They're definitely trying to protect me. But why is the Black Mirror corpse going this far? Zed wonders. Torres that he is finally seeing the secret organization whom he has only heard rumors about. Even knowing who I am, you dare pull a stunt like this? He asks. He says that Zed Arahant has finally crossed the line here. As he is about to attack, he is stopped by a magic circle. Zed thinks that this magic circle is a kind of trap. He can't step of it or avoid it. But predicting the exact location and setting it up before the situation even unfolded, this isn't the work of a 5th or 6th circle magic. He predicts that the guy in front of him is a 7th circle mage. The mage tells Torres that the moment they lift their foot, an explosion will occur. Torres asks whether the Arahant truly wants a war with Bahal. The mage tells them to turn back because even the Bahal's lord wouldn't want a war. Torres gets enraged as he feels that his family's reputation is being tarnished. So, he starts to accumulate his power in order to deal a strike. Zed thinks that this is a fight Torres Bahal can't win, since in the early stage of the game, Torres is only a 6th circle mage. He can't beat a 7th circle mage, so the outcome is obvious. If a full-scale battle breaks out here, Torres and the Knights will be annihilated. But the next moment, Zed is surprised to see the attack named the Lion's Roar. That's Bahal's first secret technique, Lion's Roar. That's impossible for Torres to use now, since that technique requires at least 7th circle magic. If he doesn't stop, he might die. Zed tells the mage to disarm the magic circle. He repeats it again. The mage replies that it's not possible because they only follow the orders of the former lord, and the command he received was to protect Zed. He was never ordered to obey Zed's instructions. Then you should only be protecting me. Why are you trying to kill Bahal's successor? Zed questions as he shouts. That it would also be overstepping his authority. At his level, he should be able to complete his mission without killing the successor. He tells the mage to deactivate the magic circle immediately, and he also tells Torres to stop. Torres says that he can't stop when Zed killed the warden and innocent citizens of the South. He will make sure that the culprit pay the price for his crimes. Zed replies that it's a misunderstanding. So they should sit and talk. Torres says that he is fine with it, but he will talk with him after he has brought Zed to his knees. Zed notices that the magic circle didn't explode, maybe because the Black Mirror Corps just obeyed him. Torres immediately attacks Zed, but due to the barrier created by the Black Mirror Corps, Zed is saved, or else he would be dead by now. Although Torres's attack was in an incomplete state, it still shattered 4 layers of a 7-circle wind barrier. The power is indeed unfathomable. Alas. Torres is feeling the backlash from forcing out an incomplete secret technique as he coughs blood. Seriously, why'd you use a secret art when you're not ready for it? Zed asks. Torres gets shocked to see that Zed even knows about the secret technique, but he loses consciousness without speaking anything of it. The other knights come running worried while Zed informs that it's a mana reflux, so if they don't treat Torres immediately, he will be in grave danger. The knights try to heal him, but it's no use. Since you can't treat mana reflux, if your circle is lower than the victim's, and if anyone here has a higher circle than Torres right now, that would be the Black Mirror. Zed tells him to heal Torres. The Black Mirror refuses. Zed says that Torres is an old friend of his. The Mirror Corps says that it's utter nonsense because a mage and a knight can't be friends. Then, Zed tries a different approach. He says that since mages always see benefits, saving Torres will be more beneficial because if he dies here, Arahant won't be able to stop an all-out war with the Bahal. The Black Mirror still refuses, saying that Torres brought this upon himself. Moreover, it has nothing to do with his mission. The time is running out and Torres's health is getting more critical as time passes. Zed makes a firm decision so that the Black Mirror can't refuse anymore. He holds the sword near his neck as he says that he will take his life if he doesn't start the healing, making it clear that he is the kind of person who doesn't bluff. Lastly, the Black Mirror says that if the head of the house finds out about it, he will be furious. Zed replies that it is his burden to bear. Although the knights refused to take the help, but at the end they agreed, and the Black Mirror heals Torres. His mana circuit gets stabilized while the Black Mirror disappears, leaving nothing but a magic card behind. This time it's notes, with number 9, which means either abandoned or survived. Zed, were those mages earlier from the Black Mirror Corps? Then that card from last time, was that from them too? Ryu asks. Zed answers that it was indeed the Black Mirror Corps, and now with this card, they are basically saying that Zed is all on his own now. Then, he gets curious to know how his friend knows about the Black Mirror Corps. Ryu says that even the kids know the name of this organization at least. Furthermore, he suggests that they should lay low for now because just by judging the knight's expression, they are on high alert, so if anything happens, they might be dead in an instant. Zed replies that if they were mages and he were a knight, he would already be dead. Knights are people who value honor, no matter how wanted someone is. Killing the person who saved your life would go against everything they stand for. Knights give their lives for honor, whereas mages will kill a friend if it brings them gain. According to him, both extremes are irrational, but it actually makes them easier to deal with because they're so predictable. With knights, a person should appeal to their honor, and with mages, a person should offer them profit. At the moment, one of the knights informs that the heir of the Bahal is asking for them. Torres and Zed, along with Ryu, sit to have a conversation. Torres introduces the minor tea, which is cultivated by their family and its aroma is exquisite. They decide to speak casually. Ryu notices that they are talking like old friends while drinking tea. Before getting to the point, Bahal expresses his gratitude and says thank you to Zed for saving his life. Zed smiles, thinking that Torres is thanking a mage, although he is the heir of Bahal, whose pride should be high enough to pierce the sky. Well, he knew Torres' personality even before entering this place, and that's what he liked about him the most. Let's skip the small talk and get to the point. You said the murder of Director Clark was a misunderstanding. What did you mean by that? Torres asks. Zed explained everything in detail from the detention center to how he got here. Of course, he left out opening his mana and obtaining the Thunder Pulse. In short, he says, since they all know Arahant doesn't back down from a fight. They tried to kill him first, so he just fought back. Torres, that if Zed is saying the truth, then the self-defense could be justified, but the key question is whether it's all true or not. Zed clears out the misunderstanding with a smirk on his face. He says that if he had no intention of clearing up this misunderstanding, he would have let Torres die back there, because from his position, there's no more surefire way than that. Finally, Torres believes Zed and gives the powdered miner as an apology for his false assumptions. Zed says instead of an apology like this, he wants Torres to grant a different request. He says that he wants Torres to find Ryu's lost younger sibling. Torres seems a little confused because this request doesn't benefit a mage. Zed says that he doesn't care about that because he promised he would find them. The next morning, Zed is exercising. To think someone would use Bahal's favor just to ask for help finding some nobody's lost sibling. Seriously, he's a weird one. Ryu thinks, while looking at Zed. Meanwhile, Torres is watching them from outside. He is in such awe to see that a mage is sweating because mages think sweating is barbaric. He heard Zed Arahant has no mana. From the world's perspective, for a mage, having no mana is like a knight without a sword. And yet, Zed doesn't give up. Instead, he pushes forward. It's such an honorable sight. If I were in his position, could I carry myself with such dignity? Torres wonders, and that was the moment when he made up his mind that he would absolutely become friends with that mage who is more knightly than any knight. Later, Torres prepared something special for lunch for Arahant and Ryu. He explains that it's Birdie Mountain beef, which is high in protein, which helps physical training. Then he tells all of them to sit. Zed notices that Torres humbly prepared a round table with no distinction of a head seat. Without further delay, Zed and Ryu start to eat. Zed thinks that nothing special comes in free, so he assumes that Torres wants something in return. Suddenly, the other knights stand up, saying sorry, but they can't share a table with an Arahant. After their departure, Torres also says sorry for their behalf. Zed tells Torres not to punish the knights for their behavior. Instead, he suggests that Torres should find the reason for their behavior and comfort them. Torres gets surprised to see that Zed is protecting the knights, even though he is a mage. He says that he is learning something new. Anyway, haven't you wanted to say something to us since earlier? Zed asks. Torres asks whether they can postpone their departure by just one day. Since they were planning to go to Prilda to find Ryu's sibling, but now he wants to show his members that Zed is a good person, and for that one day will be enough. Zed then asks Ryu about it. Ryu says that he is okay with that. Either way, the knights need to be involved, and even if they went to Prilda right now, it feels like it would just be going through the motions. Finally, they decide to follow Torres's lead and reach the southern front beyond the Tamaya castle walls. Torres gathered 20 members and formed a frontline search team. The southern and western regions are areas where the power of magical beasts is particularly strong, so the difficulty of the search operation was quite high. Could it be because of the party? It's a Bahal tradition for the deployed troops to hold a party, celebrating their safe return after a search. So his intention is to include me in this atmosphere of encouraging each other for our hard work? Zed wonders as he walks. While venturing, the knights find some unknown traces which they have never seen before. Torres asks everybody whether any one of them knows what kind of creatures these traces are from. One of the knights says that it looks like the traces of an undiscovered magical beast, not in the monster compendium. So, according to the manual, they should return to headquarters and report this. But still, Torres decides to fight the monster. According to him, because this area is Sector 1, the unknown might also be a low level. Thus, dealing with it will not be a problem. Zed moves forward and says that he knows the monster who left these traces, and its name is Balsilic. It's a mid-level magical beast, and with Torres at the 6th Circle and 25th Circle knights dealing with it shouldn't be an issue. But the knights oppress Zed's suggestion by saying that a mage from the west wouldn't know better about a mysterious beast in the southern area than the knights who actually live in the south. Is there any proof that it only appears in the south? Isn't it possible that the Arahan is just better at keeping records of magical beasts? Zed asks, but the knights take his questions as an insult to the Bahal. Zed tells them that they are the ones doing the insulting. How dare mere members like you speak informally to the Arahant's descendant? He asks. Lastly, Torres stops the commotion and again says sorry on behalf of his members. He says that he was hoping they could all get along, but it's not as easy as he thought. He couldn't finish his sentence because suddenly a monster appeared and he moved backwards. Zed informs Torres that the monster is behind him, and Torres again has to move backwards. In the next moment, we see that there isn't a single monster, but rather two of them charging straight. Torres prepares a strong attack and orders all of the members to attack the monster on the right, first with their all might along with him. They launch the attack, but it doesn't work. Zed knows that the knight's training is impeccable, but that thing's skin can't be pierced by sword skills at the 5th or 6th circle level. So Zed tells them to get down since it's the monster's turn to attack. Torres also orders his members to follow Zed's commands. Everyone follows it, except one saying, why should they follow some mage's order? Zed again warns him to get down. The monster uses an attack that scatters poison needles in all directions, but not a single one stuck into the ground. Zed saves the reluctant knight. He mocks him by saying that those needles would hurt quite a lot if he got hit. Then he tells Torres that the next attack will target their lower body too, and evading it will be tough. He says that he will take the one on the right, and other members should focus on the left. Torres says that he will quickly finish the monster and come to Zed's rescue. Arahant smiles to see that even in this situation, Torres is more worried for the well-being of others than himself. After a few seconds, Torres again takes the lead with his army to gang up on the monster on the left. Zed also gets ready to fight and activates his S-class skill, the Tenacious Challenger's Aura, which increases all of his stats by 10. He then adds the power of electrification to it and immediately charges at the monster. Zed charges the basilisk at full speed with his power of electrification. Zed says he considers himself lucky as he is getting to fight a basilisk right after a monster hunt. He uses his power to hit the basilisk in multiple spots, but due to the strong armor-like skin, it barely did any damage. Zed realizes that it only has one weak point, and that is the crown of the head, so he jumps high up in the air, accumulates his mana, and smashes into the basilisk's head using his fists with full force. The basilisk gets critically injured and dies, revealing the demon's breath in its mouth. Demon's breath is a key ingredient for an elixir. If poured in holy water, and there's a chance it can turn into an elixir. Zed says that normally an elixir is an item that randomly increases stats. But for him, the only stat that can increase is mana, so it's basically a 100% mana potion. After finishing up, Zed realizes that is it time to go help kill the other basilisk. Torres and his knights attack the basilisk with full force, but all attempts seem to be futile due to the armor-like skin. Torres is right in front of the basilisk's mouth, blocking it using his sword. The basilisk suddenly attacks Torres and he tries to block it using his sword. However, he notices that Zed is sitting on top of the basilisk. Torres gets shocked to see such energy. Torres and his knights ask whether the power Zed is using is really lighting Q. Zed replies saying it is, and anyone can recognize it. Torres asks, did he gain the power since he thought Zed had no mana? Zed says he acquired his mana a while ago. Torres gets shocked to hear this. He thinks that the mana ring that surround the heart is formed at birth. Sometimes the circuits take longer to connect, but by the age of 6, all circuits have to be connected. This means that Zed, who is around 15 years old, didn't have a mana ring until now, and it is like someone born with 9 fingers suddenly grows a 10th. Something like this has not happened once in the Empire's 1,000-year-old history, and even the heavens must have been moved by Zed's will. Zed asks Torres whether he can take the demon's breath. Torres says, of course, since he killed the beast, all the loot is his. Zed says that it is more than enough for him, but if he skins it and sell it, the basilisk will go for at least the price of some good beef. Zed thinks to himself that he has played this game for over 10 years, and never once has he gotten 2 demon breaths at once. The knights all talk among themselves about Zed. They say that they have heard he unlocked Lightning Q. He suddenly used Lightning Q even without having any mana, and that everyone including Torres saw and acknowledged it, so it cannot be a mistake. The knight whom Zed saved earlier comes up to Zed and thanks him for saving his life earlier that day. Zed humbly replies, saying it is not a problem, and asks whether he is hurt or not. The knight replies saying no, but he can't believe he hesitated on the battlefield as a knight, and he will seriously reflect on that and get better. Ryu, who was standing beside Zed, asks what Zed did out there for the knight's opinions to take a whole 360 in such a short time. Zed says he guesses the knights like him now, and he bets they will genuinely help look for Ryu's sibling tomorrow. Torres calls Zed and Ryu outside for a bit. Outside, he praises Zed for what he did earlier in the day, and says it seems like the knights' opinions about him have changed a lot. Everyone who went on the mission said they'll go help in Frinda tomorrow. Zed says that the knights must be exhausted from today. But that is great. Torres replies saying it is only natural for knights to work even when tired, as after all, they owe Zed a life debt as comrades. Torres says thinks he will need to visit his family tomorrow, as the head of the family seems very shocked to hear about today. Zed asks whether he will get scolded for getting close to an Arahan. Torres says he has been prepared for that. He says he will meet the head and then head straight for Frinda. He mentions to Ryu that he will do his best to help find his younger sibling, and they will definitely find her. Zed says to Ryu that it is great that the heir of Bahal himself is going to help him look for his sibling, and that it is very reassuring. Ryu gets emotional at this and thanks both Zed and Torres, and they both reply saying there is no need to thank them as they are all friends. The next day, they arrive at the city of Frinda, which is the southern trade hub port city. Ryu describes his younger sibling, saying her name is Lisa. She is 13 this year. She has long blonde hair down to her waist and is really cute. He uses his hands to give an estimate of her height as well. After hearing this, Zed tells the knights that they do not have much information about where she went, but she is definitely somewhere in Frinda, and instructs them to try searching among slaves from small and medium-sized families in the city, and they can investigate to that extent. The knights agree and set on their way. Meanwhile, Zed and Ryu decide to start with the merchant group Ryu used to work for, and Ryu says sure, and that the place is not far from where they are. Zed asks whether there is a clothing shop nearby. Ryu wonders why he is suddenly asking about a clothing shop. Zed and Ryu reach the place where Ryu worked. Ryu says that it is called the Hamil trading firm, where he last worked, but they framed Ryu as a thief and kicked him out. Before going to the place, they had stopped at a clothing shop, and Zed bought some clothes which Ryu thinks makes him look like a noble. Zed says they might recognize Ryu, so he will go alone. There is a person standing in front of the place, and seeing Zed approach in noble clothing, he bows and welcomes Zed, thanking him for visiting, and asks whether he is looking for something specific. Zed asks whether the place is the Hamil trading firm. The man laughs and says that Zed might be mistaken, as it is a slave market. Zed gets shocked as the man just asked him whether he was looking for goods. The man's demeanor suddenly changes and he calls Zed a punk, saying he is not a noble, and asks how dare he try to pull a trick like this. Zed says that the man is mistaken and asks what if he really is a noble. The man replies saying how dare he try to trick a merchant, as merchants survive on nothing but sharp instincts, and says that to a noble, a slave is just a product, and that real nobles never go around alone. He says that he knew something was off the moment he saw Zed, and asks whether he was sent by DeVito. Zed asks the man whether he is sharp or just stupid. The man gets angry at this and says he needs to teach Zed a lesson. But before he could even lay a nail on Zed, Zed gives the man a strong beating and says if he doesn't want to get hurt more, he should immediately answer his questions from now on. Zed slaps the man again for good measure, and he says yes. Zed says that he thought the building used to belong to the Hamil trading firm and asks what they are doing there. The man says that the previous owners went bankrupt, so they took over while groaning in pain from the beating. Zed then asks who DeVito is and whether he is a slave trader too. The man replies saying that DeVito is the owner of the largest slave market in the southern region. Zed then says to himself that then DeVito is his next target. Zed asks one more thing. He asks where everyone is. The man asks whether he means the slaves by everyone, while calling the slaves products. Zed slaps the man again for calling them products. The man again says product, but this time he spells it out. Zed slaps him multiple times after this to punish him. He tells the man that slaves are people too, and it is not okay to treat people like objects. He says that, at the very least, the man should live with a shred of decency, and it is not that hard. He tells the man to show him the way, and he immediately gets up saying he will guide him the right way. He opens the gate and lets Zed inside. After entering, he sees the slaves. Actually, seeing people being kept at a place like this is making him angry all over again. "Are there any more people locked up?" he asks. The slave trader replies, saying no, these are all the people he has. Zed notices that there are no blondes, no young slaves either. as young slaves are expensive. He thinks that Lisa was probably already sold or taken somewhere bigger. So for now, they need to track down that slave trader called DeVito. But before that, he wants to do something. He tells the trader that he will give him the last change to act like a human being. He orders the trader to bring all the money from the vault, and the keys to the cells too. Then, locks him up, saying that the trader himself should also experience the joy of being locked up. After that, Zed moves all of them to a safe. In return, all of the slave blesses and tells thanks to Zed for saving them. Zed also distributed the slavers' entire fortune to the rescued slaves, and the knights guided them to stay at a proper lodging. While eating with them, he listened to their life stories. Talking with people who have lived through a lot can bring unexpected information. A person named Gordon introduces himself. He says that he used to serve as an assistant for the Cherville family. After the family collapsed, he somehow ended up here. "You served the Cherville family?" Zed asks, because he thought they were annihilated. Gordon says that it was pure luck that he survived. About Cherville family. If Arahan is famous among mages, then Cherville was revered among blacksmiths. In their heyday, people would flock just to get a Cherville artifact. But then, they were destroyed by the Empire for treason. Now their name is barely whispered in history. This wasn't just true in history, but also in the game Zed knows. No heirs remain to pass on their legendary craft. For the Empire still at war with beasts, this was a huge loss. Gordon states that their glory days are all in the past. Zed says that it's such a shame. If Cherville's craft continued, amazing artifacts would exist today, while thinking that it's a loss for him too. Gordon suddenly starts to whisper. He says that there is something he wants to say to Sir Zed and to him only. He asks Zed to keep it a secret. Then, they both decided to talk in a private place. "What?" Zed shouts surprisingly as he gets to know the fact that the true heir of Cherville, Lacto, is still alive. Gordon tells Zed to lower his voice. "Where is Lacto now?" Zed asks. Gordon replies that Lacto's chief assistant died in his place. They swapped clothes and burned the body to make sure no one could recognize it. It all went as planned, and Lacto has been hiding in Myers now. Zed thinks that this is nuclear-level information. But even if he's alive, being a fugitive makes meeting him nearly impossible. He says thanks to Gordon for sharing this info with him. Moreover, he says that one day he hopes that he will get to meet Sir Lacto. After having this conversation, both of them gets back inside. After some time, Ryu sighs as he eats. Zed tells him not to be too upset, since today's slaver was just a small fry. He reassures Ryu by saying that they will find more clues tomorrow at DeVito's place. "Wait a minute, sir. Did you just say DeVito?" Gordon asks. Zed replies saying yes. Gordon shouts saying that DeVito's place is on another level than where they were held, and DeVito has strong people to back him. Zed smiles as he says that no matter how big his backers, he has Bahal's knights with him. Gordon replies that DeVito's connections reach all across the Empire. There are even rumors his biggest client is Arahant. For a moment, Zed gets shocked. He tries to dodge topic by saying, "No way." Why would Arahant bother coming all the way to the south? Gordon explains that there is a clear reason. An enemy's loss is their gain. Taking all the slaves would hurt the southern noble families, including Bahal. Zed thinks that if it's Arahant. That sounds plausible. Could the Black Mirror Corps be protecting DeVito? He wonders. If it is, then this isn't just dealing with a slaver. It could spark a silent war between Bahal and Arahant. Zed notices that Ryu is worried that he is putting himself at risk. He tells Ryu not to worry too much, since he is not doing this just because of Ryu, but also because it's the right thing to do. Zed says that he is just following his beliefs. The next day, at DeVito's slave market, Zed walks inside all by himself and asks, "Where's DeVito?" The people who are guarding this place gets offended. They says that this is place where even the nobles gets their heads cracked open. But in the next moment, as they see that the person standing in front of them is an Arahant, they all get on their knees and ask for mercy since they didn't recognize the young master of the Arahant. Zed wonders whether the guy at the back is DeVito. After noticing for a second, he realizes that this guy is not DeVito. Judging by the clothes, he's just a lackey. But to react like that, he must be Black Mirror course. Zed hoped not, but it's real. Then a cocky person in the second floor shows himself what brings such a noble guest to a dirty place like this. "Heard you wrecked Harbor's slave market yesterday?" he asks while getting down. Zed notices that this guy isn't impressed by Arahant's name, so he must be DeVito. DeVito says that he figured Zed wouldn't dare show up, but now sees that he was wrong, since Zed is gutsier than he was thought or maybe just ignorant. Zed speaks that, "As of today, Arahant cuts ties with this slave company, and now he will be taking all the remaining slaves." DeVito laughs. He says that since he has a noble guest in his place, he won't kill his guest, he would just give his guest a life lesson. Zed starts to calculate his moves because it can't be helped. Luckily, there's only one Black Mirror Corps member here. He wonders how strong he is. If he's around Fifth Circle, it should be doable. If Zed strikes first and take him down, surround the building. Zed hears a familiar sound. Squad 1 and 2, breach the building and kill them all. In the name of the Emperor's decree. These orders are given by Torres as he makes an entry. "What is Lord Bahal doing here?" DeVito asks, while being shocked. He sees a surge of energy in the form of a swing, coming right at him. He immediately ducks down and sees the head of the Black Mirror Corps member, lying in front of him. Torres speaks. "Slave trader DeVito, you are under arrest for the crime of illegal kidnapping, detaining the powerless, and tarnishing Bahal's honor by committing filthy acts in its southern region. Moreover, he says that as the Lord of Bahal, he will sever DeVito's limbs to make an example of him." DeVito gets confused since he can't fathom what is happening to him right now. He finds it absurd that the two eyes that should be directing malice towards each other are now both directing it towards him. He asks for forgiveness, but it was too late as both of his arms and legs gets chopped by Torres. Zed thanks Torres for his perfect timing. "But what was that earlier about the Emperor's decree?" he asks. Torres explains that it's exactly as it sounds. The Emperor issued a decree to eradicate the slave traders. So Zed asks whether Torres dealt with the other slave traders too. Torres replies on behalf of the Emperor that they sent night squads to all of them. According to the information, this place was the most prominent, so Torres came personally. "By the way, what are you doing here? Zed, don't tell me you plan to take down DeVito alone?" he asks. Zed replies by saying yes, because there was something he needed to check. After hearing it, Torres tells Zed that unlocking mana at his age is impressive, but he is still not at a level to do such things alone, so don't overdo it. Zed thinks that the Emperor's decree came at a convenient timing. That said, he also knows that the Arahant won't just let this slide. He notices that unlike the others, this guy has a resigned look. Did he not fight back because he couldn't or because he didn't want to? Zed wonders. If it's the latter, that's some serious loyalty to the Arahant bloodline, Zed thinks. At that moment, a knight comes with the info that they have found the slaves in the basement. After some time, both Torres and Zed, along with Ryu, goes to the basement. The knight informs that they have estimated that 600 people are here. Torres gives them the order to bring any blonde girl they found to Ryu. Ryu notices a blonde girl and calls her. But in the next moment, he sees that it's not his sister Lisa. Zed notices that about 500 of people have come out so far. So Lisa maybe not be here either? He thinks that it's a disgusting fact, but young girls are expensive and popular. So there's a chance she's already been sold. He tells Ryu not to give up. The knight mentions that unfortunately that the slaves that just left were the last ones. While hearing it, Ryu feels mixed emotions. He is upset while also being frightened of not finding his sister. Lord Taurus, as per the decree, will escort the rescued slaves to the imperial palace. The knight speaks. Torres gives him the permission. He tries to lighten the mood by saying that since both Zed and Ryu worked hard today, they should get some rest. In the meantime, the knights and him will continue cracking down on slave traders tomorrow, so Ryu will find his sister soon. At that moment, the horse suddenly jumps, and a little blonde girl gets startled, and she falls to the ground. Torres goes to help her, while telling his horse that it shouldn't startle someone when it sees that they're right next to it. "Are you okay?" he asks, but to his surprise, he sees that she is a blonde girl. Zed asks Ryu whether he saw a girl like this earlier. Both of them looks at each other at the same time, and the girl calls Ryu brother. Both of the siblings finally met. Zed smiles as he says that she must have gone unnoticed because of the hood. They almost missed her, but thanks to that horse they found her. While saying this, he sees that Torres is crying, seeing the heartfelt reunion of the siblings. So, he teases Torres for it, and Torres calls Zed a cold-hearted guy. After that, Torres gives party to all of them. He tells them to enjoy their meals and drinks to their heart's content, since tonight's meal is on him. Lisa seems surprised to see the exquisite meal in front of her. Torres humbly serves Lisa. He tells her not to hold back and eat comfortable. Lisa bows her head down to express her gratitude. Torres tells her that she doesn't need to be formal, since Ryu is his friend, and so does she. He tells her, while pointing at Zed, that she can think of that guy like a real brother. Although he's cold, but he's a decent guy. Meanwhile, Zed thinks at 40, he is with a 15-year-old friend and his 13-year-old sister. It feels kinda weird. Ryu, while serving another piece of meat to Lisa, tells her that if she wants more, she should just say, and her brother will get it for her. Ryu brags, saying that his friends are super rich, and he bets that he is the only commoner here who is being friends with both Bahal and Arahant. Just like that, the conversation between the young siblings made the atmosphere livelier than ever. Perhaps this was the first peaceful day Zed experienced since entering this world, but it didn't last long. A knight, who is also the vice-captain of the Bahal's knights named Philip, enters the restaurant, hurriedly as if he has some news and orders of grave importance to follow. "Why are you here?" Vice-captain Torres asks. Philip replies that he came here, urgently, because of the Lord's declaration. Torres says that he wasn't informed of any specific orders, so he wants to know what the declaration is about. Without answering, first, Philip unshields his swords and points it at Zed. Judging by Zed's expression, he already predicted what is going to happen after this. He sighs, thinking that he just wanted this day to be a peaceful one, but it seems that's not happening. Philip speaks on behalf of his lord, that the Lord has ordered Arahant to be brought to him immediately. After that, Zed gets on a carriage and the Knights of Bahal. While going, Knight Philip tells Zed the rules he has to follow in front of the patriarch of the Bahal family. While he was telling the rules, Zed stops him midway and says, "Who the hell are you to bark orders at me?" Hearing this, Philip frowns and tells Zed not to forget that he is in the Bahal territory and he will take his head if he misbehave. Zed glares and says, "No! You're the one who needs to show some respect. Don't forget I'm from Arahant. Zed don't know what the Lord of Bahal, Fernando Bahal, is planning, but as an heir of Arahant, he needs to carry himself properly." For some reason, Zed feels like this is the only Wat he will make it out of here alive. Zed realizes that if he bows too low, they'll look down on him, and if he stands too tall, he'll provoke their wrath. While he is thinking this, they reached at the gate of the Bahal family. Philip takes Zed to reception room on the 5th floor and tells him to wait here. Zed is amazed, seeing that this place looks completely same as he has seen it in the game. Seeing that he is taken to the 7th room, Zed gets that he is summoned here as a guest. As he is looking around, he feels a huge pressure. That is suppressing him from the back. Zed then hears a deep voice which says, "You're the first Arahant to set foot in Bahal's mansion." Zed can't grasp what is going on. Zed gathers his thought and gets that the Lord of Bahal is right behind him. Just being in the same space is enough to make Zed lose focus. He can't even turn around. The Lord of Bahal is not using aura. If he were, Zed's trait would have flared up. This immense pressure Zed is feeling is the Lord's pure presence. This is what it means to reach the realm beyond 10 Circle. To be a sword master. As the Lord of Bahal walks past him and sits on the throne, Zed feels a bit relief. The Lord sits and glares at Zed. Zed seems nervous. After a while, the Lord speaks. He says, "I'll give you this, you've got guts, Arahant. But this is Bahal's mansion. Act accordingly." The Lord shouts and starts to radiate Awar. Zed feels the pressure. He musters all his strength and tries not to fall on his knees, as kneeling before someone stronger is disgraceful. If Zed shows even a hint of submission, and the Lord will never take him seriously again. Zed slightly lowers his head and thanks the Lord for the invitation. Hearing this, the Lord asked, "What invitation?" Zed replies, "I was brought here in a carriage and escorted to the reception room. Isn't that how you treat a guest?" "I came here as one. But if kneeling and bowing is the way of Bahal, then I'll do as your customs dictate." Zed's words startle the Lord. After a while, he laughs and says, "You're a bold one, aren't you?" He then tells Zed to take the seat and have some tea. Seeing the tea, Zed gets that it's minor tea. This gives him a assurance that he is being treated as a guest for now. Seeing the puzzled face of Zed TG Lord tells him not to overthinking so much as he has summoned him, here purely out of personal curiosity. The Lord then asked Zed if he has visited the slaver DeVito because of the Emperor's decree. "I didn't hear about the decree until after the matter was settled," Zed says. Hearing this, the Lord asked for the reason of his action. There are plenty of answers that could earn Zed Fernando's favor, but he decides to stick to the truth. Zed tells Lord Fernando that the slave trading is against human decency. He simply acted according to his conscience. Fernando then asked Zed if he really didn't know DeVito was tied to his family. Zed replies, "I thought it was just a rumor. But the moment I saw him, I realized it was true." Fernando asked so why he didn't step back knowing that. Zed says that he only cared about what was right and wrong. Family had nothing to do with it. Fernando tells Zed the Arahant won't let this slide away. "It's fine. I did the right thing, no regrets," Zed says. The answers of Zed left a good impression on Fernando. Fernando is now more curious about Zed. He also gets that Zed is a mage who knows honor. After that, the meeting ends. Fernando tells Zed to stay the night here, and they will again join in the breakfast. Zed gets up and thanks Fernando with a knight's salute. Seeing this, Fernando laughs and says, "Didn't expect to get a knight's salute from a mage. Today really is full of surprises." After that, Zed is taken to the guest room. He sits on the chair and feels relieved. He is completely drained and feels hungry. At that time, the servant knocks on the door and brings in the foods and service it to Zed. As Zed is about to dig in, he sees a white paper on top of the food. He gets shocked to see this and rushes towards to find if someone is there. He finds none. This paper is from the Shadow Guards. Zed wonders how the Shadow Guards gets inside this Bahal mansion. Zed then gets inside and applies some mana to the card. The colo of the card changes and a 0 letter appears. This 0 means return or abort. The Lord of Arahant is now telling Zed to return to the family. The sun is about to rise again. Zed is sitting in a corner shosekt to see the Shadow Guard's magic card in the mansion of Bahal. He can't fathom the reach of the Arahant family. While he was lost in his thoughts, someone knocks on the door and calls his name. Zed opens the door and sees Torres. Seeing him, Zed asked about Ryu and Risa. Torres tells him that he kept them in safe hands and came alone to see if he is okay. After that, the two of them walks in the hallway, and Zed tells Torres what has happened in the meeting. Torres tells Zed that he has made his father take an interest in him. Torres' father also removed the bounty on Zed's head. The situation would be perfect for Zed if that magic card hadn't shown up. After that, they went to do the breakfast. Later, Torres takes Zed and showed him the whole estate. They come the night quarters and training ground. Zed is enjoying the view. Beside the training ground, Zed sees a white horse in the stable. Zed gets curious and asks Torres about this. Torres says, "That spot's kinda special. You've probably heard the story." Bahal's white steeds choose their own masters. That's where the white steeds who haven't met their masters yet are kept. Torres and Zed gets closer to the horse. As Torres tries to touch it, the horse gets back and screams. Torres then tells Zed that usually the horses choose their master within 3 months. But this guy's been holding out for 2 years, and this is the only horse that even turned down the patriarch. Hearing this, Zed gets shocked, as how come this horse didn't choose someone so powerful? Torres explains Zed that this white horses didn't choose the most strongest, they have their own standards. Zed finds this interesting and looks at the Bahal white steeds. Torres also tells Zed that this Bahal white steeds are divine beast, and they aren't someone's property. It's a partner and a comrade, and that is why the Bahal family respect its choice. The horse and Zed looked at each other's eyes. There seems to be some kind of connect between the two, as Zed moves his hand to touch the horse. At that time, Philip comes with his subordinates. Philip comes and shows disrespect to Zed. Torres stands up and tells him to show some respect, as Zed is the guest of the patriarch. Philip bows down and agrees to act polite. He then suggests Zed that why not he have a training session with them. Philip then says that there is no meditation room for him to train, so why not they have a sparring match. Torres warns Philip and tells him to behave as he is the guest. Philip says, "A friendly match isn't exactly disrespectful. It'd be a great experience for the squad." For Zed too, I'd say. Torres tries to avoid it and tells Philip that they will do that some other time as Zed is not ready totally. Hearing this, Philip says, "Come on, just a light spar. If you're worried about the level, we've got a newbie who joined just a few days ago, and if that's not enough, the rookie can hold back. Zed can't take it anymore. He speaks up and says he will do it. He points at the rookie and says he will spar him. After that, they get into the training ground. The rookie takes a wooden sword. Zed stretches a bit and tells the rookie to go all out, or he will regret this." Torres is worried because even though Zed has awakened lighting aura, but he is not even a first circle yet, and he is going up against a 5th circle knight. Before the sparring begins, the rookie asks Zed that if he really thinks he has chance to win. Zed replies that this change of winning is 50-50. Hearing this, the rookie gets angry and starts to release his aura. Zed also gets ready to fight and actives his lighting aura. Philip gets a bit amazed to see the rumored lighting aura, but Philip is confident that Zed will lose as the mana he can sense for Zed is at the 1st circle. The fight beings, the two of them rushed at each other. The rookie seems confused as he thinks that Zed as a mage he should try to make distance between them, but he is doing the complete opposite. The rookie didn't think further and launched his attack. Everyone, including the white steed watching the match, gets shocked. So see that Zed dodged the attack so smoothly. Zed then tells the rookie to give everything he has got. The rookie is confused and looks at Zed. Zed kicks him on the face and sends him flying. The rookie is amazed to see the power of Zed. Zed quickly gets closer, but the rookie starts to attack. Zed dodges all of his attacks and punches the rookie in the stomach. Zed didn't stop there. He uses his left hand and punches the rookie on the face and sends his flying with a big bruise in the face. Torres and Philip get shocked to see this scene. Seeing the white steed also seems to take an interest in Zed. The rookie is knocked out, and the other knights are trying to wake him up. The healer is being called to heal the rookie. The other trainees turned hostile and points their swords at Zed. Torres steps up and asks, "What are they doing?" He asked the knights if they are turning this sparring session to a fight. The knights didn't back down even after Torres told them to. Zed sees that there is no end to this. Zed then stops Torres and says, "One match was enough, huh? I thought accepting defeat with dignity was part of your knightly code." Hearing this, the knights gets furious and shouts, "How come a mage teach them chivalry? I agreed to this duel just like you asked, and not just anywhere right in the heart of the Bahal estate." "Do you even understand what that means?" Zed asked. At that time, the patriarch of the Bahal family gets behind Zed and says, "Impressive." Everyone gets shocked to see the Lord. Fernando then ordered them to sheathe their swords. The knights quickly bows down and obey. Zed gets shocked to see that even with his 100 perception, he couldn't sense the Lord of Bahal who was standing behind him. Fernando then looks at Zed and says that this day will be written in the history of Bahal, that an Arahant duel in Bahal's own training hall. Zed apologies and says he know it was rude, but he couldn't refuse the duel. Hearing this, Fernando says, "Of course." An Arahant doesn't back down from a challenge. He then tells all of his knights to take this to heart, and this is why you can't neglect your training. Rising through the ranks is important, but what matters more is experience. Learn from it, and make those lessons yours. Got it? After the speech, he again looks at Zed and says, "You gave my squad quite the lesson today. I won't forget what happened here." Zed gets that this is a warning for him. At that time, the white seed breaks the stable and rushed towards Zed. After that, the horse starts to round around Zed. Torres and all the knights of Bahal can't believe their eyes. Zed is confused and asked what is going on. Torres tells Zed that it's a ritual, just like a white stallion chooses its rider. It's showing its strength to earn its master's recognition. This means that White Stallion has chosen Zed. The horse stops in front of Zed and looks him in the eye. Fernando also says that this incident would make all the past heads of the Bahal family speechless. Zed is also confused that the horse and the symbol of Bahal choose him. He gets closer and touches the horse. Zed Arahant. "Will you accept Jinju as your comrade and stay by her side for life?" Fernando asked. Zed asked, "Who is Jinju?" Fernando tells him that it's the horse name. Zed is in shock. He tells them to hold on for a second. The horse gets closer and shakes her head with roar. Zed is confused. As he looks in the horse's eyes, he gets that the horse wants him to says yes. Zed looks at Fernando and seeing the serious face, he says that he will do it. Philip then stops them and says, "This is impossible. In our clan's history, only Bahal's members have ever ridden the White Stallion. We cannot allow such a disastrous precedent." Hearing this, Fernando says, "Exactly. Until now, only those within the clan could choose the stallion, because no other option was ever given. Only the clan members were chosen." Philip tries to convince the Lord, so he tells him to recall all the atrocities committed by the Arahant. He further says that the Arahant will devour the White Stallion will pigs. "That's why I got a promise from Zed Arahant," Fernando says. "Mages lie as easily as they breathe. How can we trust that promise?" Phillips shouts. Fernando then promises Philip that if Zed Arahant does not treat you White Stallion as a comrade, he'll take Zed's life himself. After that, as Philip is about to speak, Fernando tells him to stop, as he will not tolerate any more saying about this. Later at night, Zed takes Jinju and rides on her. He is going to Frilda to meet up with Ryu. As he gets there, Ryu and his sister get shocked to see the White Stallion. Ryu asks Zed how did he gets the horse of Bahal. Zed tells him to head inside, and he will tell them everything. Zed tells Ryu everything that happened. He also tells him about the Black Mirror's magic card. Zed tells Ryu, and he will be going back to Arahant. Ryu tells him that he will also come with him. Zed appreciates Ryu's comradeship, but he don't want to take Ryu with him. Ryu then tells Zed that the fighting between the brothers in Arahant is very dirty, and as Zed was exiled for a long time, he has no companions in the Arahant place. So if Ryu and Risa come with him, he can hire them as his retainers, and they will definitely be helpful for him. After thinking for a while, Zed agrees to take both of them with him. Later, at the midnight, Zed is alone sitting in his room. He is thinking that, even though he is set on going, he can't just rush in blindly. He needs some kind support. Right now, the possibilities are the last survivor of the fallen blacksmith clan, Lacto Chervil, the demon breath taken from the basilisk, and the holy water needed to turn that demon breath into an elixir. And to get them, they have to go to Myers. The next morning, the three of them packs their bags and get ready to go to Myers. After reaching Myers, the three of them gets into an inn and takes some rest. While having breakfast, Ryu gets shocked to hear that Zed is taking all the gold bars they have. Ryu asked why he needs so 500 gold coins for. Zed tells him even this much is to enough. The elixir Zed is trying to make uses demon's breath infused with holy water, and the success rate depends entirely on the divine purity of that holy water. If it's low-grade holy water, even pouring in hundreds won't do a thing. The average price for one holy water is about 10 gold coins. Zed need roughly 50 bottles. The reason Zed has come to Myers because he trusts the priest here. As Zed is leaving, Ryu requests him to leave at least one gold bar. But Zed refused, saying that they still have some silver coin left. Before leaving, Zed tasked Ryu with finding a person. The person is Larak. He has got one eye and white hair. As the town has lots of white hair and one-eyed person, Zed tells Ryu to gather all of them, saying that money is involved. However, Larak is a fugitive and he won't show his face for a few measly coins. Ryu asked, how are they going to find him? Zed tells him to look for the people that will not attend the gathering. And he also advised Ryu not to call the name Larak, as he is currently hiding his name. Zed gets out with the briefcase. Initially, he was planning to buy magic tools with this money, but after hearing Larak's name, he changed his plan and decided to make the elixir. And after getting Larko on his side, he will commission him to make the magic tools. Zed has come in front of the church, but he sees a huge line in front of the church. Zed gets closer to see why there is a huge crowd. He asked a man about the reason they have gathered here. The man tells Zed that the church is selling holy water at half price, so everyone is here to get that. This is good for Zed, as now he can turn both demons' breaths into elixirs. But there's a catch. Holy water needs to be infused with divine power, so normally it's only made one bottle per day. With Johan's personality, not being hung up on money, half-price holy water's definitely possible. But this much of it when it takes a full day just to make one bottle, something's off. Zed stands in the line and waits for his turn. In the evening, he gets his chance to finally meet the priest John. Zed says hello to the father, but the father asks him how much bottle he needs. Zed gets the problem. He asked the priest, it must be exhausting, putting on an act all day. The priest smiles and asks what is he talking about. Zed slams his hand on the door and says, there's only one Father Johan in Myers Church, Johan Chris you faker. Where's the real Father Johan? Ha ha. I really don't know what you're talking about. I'm Johan. If you're not here for anything else, please leave. There are people waiting behind you. The priest says this while bringing the kinnif from his sleeve. At that time, the people behind starts to shout and tells them to hurry up. Zed asks the man if he really thinks he will get away with messing with a church. He threatens him, saying that he will report this to the provincial army immediately. Ha ha ha! The provincial army? Fine by me. If I've committed a crime, I'll gladly face the charges. The man says this and leans closer to Zed and whispers in his ear, "So if you don't want to get hurt, scram. Stop getting in the way of busy people." After that, Zed returns from there. At home, he thinks that the provincial force is supporting the fraud priest, as he didn't even flinch at the mention of the Imperial Army. Zed starts to write something on a paper while thinking that the Imperial Central Army is strict, but provincial troops are a different story. They're more likely to be caught up in corruption in local cities. This might not be as easy as I thought. There's no proof of anything, so I'll have to check it out myself. He finished writing the letter and left it on the table and leaves. Zed goes to the provincial fortress. The guards there seize the white stallion and thinks that a person from Bahal has come. They salutes and asked why is he here. Zed tells them that he is here to file a report. He asked if the general is inside. The guards asked if he has make any appointment. Zed replies no. The guards tells him that he will have to make one and come back later. Zed asked if the general is that busy. No, it's just the general's policy. He never meets anyone without an appointment, the guards replies. Zed gets a bit serious and says, "Aren't the provincial troops responsible for managing local affairs? You're telling me I need an appointment just to report something serious?" The guards get scared and apologize, saying that they are just following orders. Zed gets that nothing good will happen, yelling at the guards. At that time, the general comes there. He asked Zed, "Who is he?" Zed tells him that he has come to report something. The general ignores him and asked, "You don't look like one of Bahal's men. So why are you riding Bahal's white horse? Did you steal it?" Zed stays polite and says that he has received it as a gift. A gift? I've never heard of anyone gifting a white horse. What house are you with? You don't look like a knight, the general asked. Zed tells him that he is a mage from some no-name family. Hearing this, the general laughs and says, "A mage, not even a knight, got gifted Bahal's white horse? You think you can waltz in here and lie like that?" Zed replies, "It was an unusual circumstance. But more importantly, don't you think you should hear what I came to report? Right now, someone's selling fake holy water in Myers Church with a fake priest. As you know, holy water's incredibly valuable." As Zed says this, the general orders his army to arrest him immediately. The soldiers surrounded him quickly. The general gets down from the horse and orders to throw Zed in the dungeon and seize the white horse. "So you really are working together," Zed says. The general gives a frown look and says, "You'll regret ever opening your mouth, kid." After that, the soldiers capture Zed and takes him to the dungeon. Meanwhile, at the Bahal family, the patriarch tells Torres that the emperor has announced a grand reward. Torres asked if they house is at the top among the contributor. Fernando replies, yes. Among the imperial citizens rescued from slave traders, Bahal saved 3,720 people. Next was Arahan with 2,580. Fernando knows that the emperor always promotes balance and harmony between knights and mages, rarely encouraging competition like this. This means the emperor really did care about this mission. It's a meaningful achievement that Bahal played the leading role. Fernando tells Torres that he will be receiving the reward. And as it's a long trip, so don't waste time, start preparing. At that time, a knight comes and says, "My lord, a young boy's come to the estate asking to see you. We were going to send him away, but he claimed to be a friend of Lord Torres and Zed Arahan, so I came to confirm." Hearing this, Torres asked, "Is the boy's name Ryu?" The knight replies, "Yes." Torres tells that he knows him, but he wonders why Ryu has come here. Seeing the patriarch getting angry, Torres tells him not to worry and leave it to him. Fernando refused and tells the knight to bring him as Zed must have sent him. Torres gets confused. The patriarch frowns and says, "He said he had something to tell me. I should hear him out." As he says this, the letter falls, and we can see that the emperor has praised Zed Arahant. The throne commends Zed Arahan's service in aiding imperial citizens, regardless of their status. All noble houses are expected to follow this example. Ryu gets in front of Fernando and he bowed down without raising his head. Fernando asked him the purpose of his visit. Ryu hands over the letter Zed has written. Fernando opens it and gets shocked. The contents of the letter is, "A priest from Myers Cathedral, authority of the church, fake holy water being sold, using faith as a pretense to scam people, betrayers of their duties, defiant, tick. Even when warned, they remain. There's suspicion of collusion with the regional army, bribes involved." After reading this, Fernando gets that Zed wrote all this with the intent for him to see it. Fernando wonders if this is really the insight of a 15-year-old Vu. Ryu tells that he was worried something might have happened to Zed, that why he has quickly come to seek help. "You must have been terrified, but you still came here for your friend. That's a truly honorable thing to do," Fernando says. This. Ryu raises his head in confusion. Fernando gets up and says, "It's getting late. Go fetch something warm to eat. I'll write you a letter in the meantime, so relax and enjoy your meal." Hearing this, Ryu thanks the Lord. As the patriarch leaves, Ryu thinks that the nights are really amazing. Later, a maid brings him a burger. Ryu bites it, and tears of joy rolls from his eyes. On the other hand, in the dungeon, Zed is being tortured. He has been hanged upside down. However, despite in this extreme situation, he continues his training. The guard watching this thinks that he is a psycho. He starts to think that the tortured has fuck up his mind. At that time, General Pullman comes there. He asks the guard what Zed is doing. "We're not really sure, but he's been like that this whole time. The previous shift worker said he was handed over the exact same way by the one before him." The guard says this. The general gets shocked to hear this. After that, the guards brought his down. The general tells Zed, depending on his answer, he might let him go or else the degree of torture will be increased. Pullman asked that the white horse won't listen to he. He asks Zed if he put some kind of spell on it. Zed replies, "Bullshit. A white steed only listens to the master it chooses." Pullman asked, how is he supposed to believe a knight's horse chose a damn mage? Zed smiles and says that he will see soon enough. This made Pullman angry. He removes his jewelers and says he will handle the torture now, as it seems the last round was too soft for him. Pullman grabs the knife and says he wonders how long Zed lasts, as nobody has even lasted more than 30 minutes before him. He gets closer to Zed and places the tip of the kinfei above Zed's knee. He tells Zed that he is giving him a last chance to talk. Zed laughs and says, "Screw off." Pullman shouts in anger, and he is about to stab the knife. At that instant, a guard comes rushing and stops the general. He tells Pullman that a letter has arrived from Bahal family. The general throws the knife at the guard out of anger and shouts, "Damn it! What's wrong with you? Didn't I say no interruptions during torture? Didn't I?" The guard apologizes and tells him that this is an urgent matter. A letter has come direct from the head of Bahal family. Pullman grabs the letter and says, if there is nothing important, he better get ready to die. He opens the letter and reads. The letter says, "The prisoner you've captured is the owner of the White Steed, and a friend of Bahal, and a son of the Arahan family. As you are suspected of involvement in a corruption case, you are to lay down your command and stand by when the Central Army's investigation begins." After reading this, Pullman gets mad and tears the letter into pieces. Pullman's face turns red in anger. He looks at Zed and says, "This was all your doing, wasn't it? That smug look. This 15 what you were waiting for, still not coming to your senses. Even if he's the head of Bahal, he can't just trample over a general in the Imperial Army." Zed smiles and says, "He can." The justification is clear. Pullman takes the kinfei and says he will kill him and the fake priest, so there will be no evidence. Zed uses his lighting to burn the rope. He gets up to fight. But at that moment, a magic chain wraps around Pullman's leg. Everyone in the room, including Zed, gets confused to see this. Within a second, the chains turned Pullman into a mummy. Zed turns around and sees a shadow guard who was hiding among the soldiers. After that, more Shadow Guard member come in front of Zed and tells him that the head has ordered for him to return immediately. They tell Zed to follow as they will escort him safely. Zed asked why the sudden recall. That doesn't matter. Orders are orders, please hurry. Zed can't return, yet he still don't have the elixir. He also hasn't found Larko Cherville either. Zed tells them to just give him a few days. He will return on his own. The guards denied that and says they are only following the head's command. Zed needs some time, so to extend his stay, he says, "You're Shadow Guard and you don't know Arahan's situation. Going now means my death. There's no way the head doesn't know that. Please convey my intentions to the head. I just need a little time to prepare if I'm going to survive the fallout. If he still wants me back after that, I'll come without a word." A Shadow Guard says that he understands and tells him to wait. Saying this, the guard vanishes. In the meantime, Zed thinks that the head of Arahan must have been tracking my every move through the Shadow Guard. The only real problems are killing the slaver Dvito and going to the Bahal estate. Zed gets that he needs to prepare for questioning about them. After a while, the guards returns and says, "Young master, the head has agreed to give you time. Return to the family within 14 days. That's all you're getting." Zed now has 14 days in his hand, and the countdown starts now. Zed thinks that he has moved fast. The Shadow Guard tells him that the matter of Pullman and the Myers Cathedral has been left in Zed's hands, and an investigator will be arriving shortly. He tells Zed to handle it wisely. Zed gets surprised to hear that the investigator is coming so soon. Zed gets that this is the work of the Shadow Guard, and he gets terrified to see how influenced they are. Deep inside, he also wants to have this power. The guard also tells Zed that the head wishes for him to stop hiding the fact that he is of Arahan blood. What the hell does that mean? Wait, my lenses? You mean stop wearing them? Zed says. The guard replies that he got is correct. Zed asked why he has to reveal his identity now. That's all we were instructed to deliver. With that, we'll take our leave. Saying this, the Shadow Guards vanishes. 2 hours later, an Imperial investigator named Cox come to Myers. The old man sees Zed and praises him for exposing the corruption. He asked Zed that from which family he belongs to. He also says that the Emperor himself will surely commend his achievements. Zed removes his lenses, revealing his red eyes. He formally greets the old man and tells him that he is Zed Arahan, the 7th son of the Arahan family. Cox gets surprised and asked if he really is Zed Arahan. Zed replies yes. The old man laughs and says, "So the Arahan listed on the official decree was you." Zed wonders what an official decree is. Seeing his expression, Cox gets that Zed hasn't heard about the official decree. Cox takes out a piece of paper and shows it to Zed and says, "Your name was listed at the very end, in a decree written personally by His Majesty." Cox also shows Zed their palace has spoken very highly of him. He puts the decree aside and tells Zed he wanted to meet him, but now fate has brought them together. Zed is still confused. He asked, how does His Majesty know about him? The Emperor values conversation above status or rank. Apparently, a few of the people who were recently repatriated mentioned you, Cox replies. Hearing this, Zed remember Gordon, the old man he rescued, and who said that he will repay him. Zed then gets to work. He requests Cox that he wants to go to the cathedral alone and finish this work himself. Cox understands his determination and allows him to do the work alone. Zed bows down to thanks the man. Seeing this, Cox laughs and says, "Arahan or not, you're the first one to thank me in a long while. Maybe I've lived too long. Take the Central Army unit that came with me. You're facing criminals who broke imperial law. If they resist, you're authorized to execute them on the spot. If anything goes wrong, I'll take responsibility." Hearing this, Zed appreciates the generosity Cox has shown him. Cox taps Zed's shoulder and says he is so polite, not like the Arahans at all. Hearing this, Zed wonders if all the Arahans are lunatic. After that, Zed takes the Imperial army and marches towards the cathedral. Zed stands in front of the door and shouts, "To the con artists who deceived Imperial citizens for their own gain. I'll count to 3. If you're not out by then, you die where you hide. Even after this, there is no sign of a single person." The army asked Zed if they should go and bring him out. "Weapons and mana can't be used inside an Imperial church, right? It's risky," Zed says. The army man says that it's tour, but they have no other option. They have to wait for the authorization permit. Zed tells them that he will handle it himself. The army man tries to stop him, but Zed tells them to wait here as he don't have much time. He will handle it himself. Saying this, Zed rushed towards the cathedral. Cox arrives there, and the army men asked him what Zed is planning as he can't use magic in the church. However, the problem is solved as Cox is there with the permit in his hand. Seeing this, the army wants to go inside and capture the criminal. Cox tells them to step down and says, "When I gave Zed the command token, it was because I was entrusting this case to him." Command token. Golden token granting authority to command Imperial forces. The soldiers tried to convince Cox to give them order to go in, as there may be armed force which can harm Zed. Zed breaks the door and gets inside. There are many people with knife in their hands, waiting to attack. In the meantime, Cox asked the soldiers, "Do you know why the Arahans are the top house? Why people fear them? They are stronger than the rest," the soldiers replies. Cox says, "Just because they're strong? No, there's something more important than that. An Arahan never goes back on their word. No matter what it takes, no matter how dirty, it gets done. That's what makes them terrifying." Zed gets inside and gives a deadly glare at the fake priest. He gets inside and closes the door. Beating sounds come from the cathedral. The soldiers are worried and insists to go in. After a while, the door opens. The soldiers get ready to fight. However, the criminals are subdued and were obediently following Zed. Zed gives a smile, and everyone cheers for him. They asked who he beat them without any mana or magic. Zed clenches his fist and says, "This wasn't that hard." Cox praises Zed and says that he is incredible. Zed tells Cox their crime, and Cox says that he will handle the rest. He then calls for the real Father Johann. Father Johann comes out, and people gets joyous seeing him unharmed. Father Johann then comes and heals the injured criminals. Everyone is surprised to see this level of kindness. The criminals apologize the father and says that they will never crime again. Johann then properly introduces him. He says that he is Johann Chris, the 49th priest of the Empire. Father Johann expresses his gratitude and asked Zed to come inside and have a cup of tea with him. As Zed is going, Cox stops him and tells him to come to him for a moment. Cox takes out a badge and says, "If you're okay with it, I'd like to give you this. The insignia of the investigator, the one that grants authority over Imperial forces. If Zed shows this anywhere in the Empire and they'll assist him, why give this to me?" "You don't even know how I'll use it," Zed asked. Cox says, "I trust you won't drag my name through the mud. Just promise me you'll only ever use that insignia for the Empire. If you ever use it for your own gain, then you'll have repaid my trust with betrayal." Zed takes the insignia and says that he understands and he will never let that happen. Cox then says Zed farewell and gets back to work. Then, both Zed and Father Johann gets inside and sits down to have a conversation with a cup of tea. Johann thanks Zed for saving him and tells him that Zed did something incredible. Meanwhile, Zed humbly accepts the praises. "So, is there something you desire from me?" Johann asks. Zed is amazed to see that Johann is wise and perceptive as he expected him to be. So he tells Johann honestly that he needs his holy water. Father explains that holy water is meant for healing the sick and fighting the evil and asks what Zed intending to do with it. Zed replies that he needs it to craft magic items. He doesn't know if that counts as fighting evil, but at the very least. Zed mentions that it's to save his own life. Johann gets a little confused. Zed explains that he is an arahant, but he was cast out because he can't wield mana. Now he has been ordered to return to his family. Do you understand what that means? Zed asks. Johann answers. Saying yes, he has heard that the infighting among Zed's brothers is severe, but he is not sure whether some magic items will be able to save someone's life in this situation. Zed says that he just wants to do everything he possibly can to prepare, while thinking that right now, the maximum stat boost he can get from elixirs is 2. And if the skill Transcendence requires 5 magic stats, then for him with just 3, that's insanely valuable. Being able to use it freely versus only when he pushes himself, it's a world of difference. The priest mentions that he has heard rumors about Zed before, that he handled that notorious slave trader the Arahant used to oversee. So he thinks it was God's will that an Arahant came to Myers and helped protect the sanctum. Maybe even him helping Zed now is all part of God's plan. He gets up and brings a rusty old box while saying that he has been saving this for someone who truly needs it. He mentions that the potency of holy water depends on how much divine power it holds, and these were made over a long time, with every bit of strength he could muster. He hopes they will help Zed at least more than the normal holy water. Zed didn't think that Johann would give him something this precious. Moreover, the priest gives Zed a personal gift with all his blessings, and that ends their conversation. At an inn, Zed still can't believe that he got an item. He wanted so badly when he played this game. It's the priest's emblem, or in other words, a seal of approval from a priest. That might not sound like much, but in the world of Lacey, it holds tremendous power. The cathedral gained its current authority because the emperor poured resources into creating a morally upright empire. So the priest's seal is basically indirect imperial approval. With the priest's emblem, Zed will be safe from wanted notices and can't be arrested on sight. And more importantly, it means no one can arbitrarily kill him. This single emblem makes him much safer in the midst of the infighting. Johann must have understood that too. That's why he gave this to Zed. The Inquisitor's insignia and the priest's emblem. This is probably the best he could hope for before returning to his family. Anyone who wants to kill him now will have to take a huge risk, and wherever he goes, the Imperial Army can protect him. Just looking at it gives him peace of mind. Now, next up, Zed looks at the holy water. In the game, Johann's holy water only had a 20% success rate, but he said this was made with special care. Zed has got 3 bottles of holy water and 2 demon's breaths. He says that it'd be amazing if it worked on the first try. He decides to give it a shot first. Then if he fails, he will just try to get more. Luckily, he is able to pull it off in his first try. Without lingering, he drinks the portion, and his magic stats increases by 1. He then happily decides to go for the second, since Ha has 1 more demon's breath left. If he succeeds this second time around, he will still have 1 bottle of holy water left. Today, his luck is on his side because he also succeeded in his second try. He drinks it, and again his magic stats increase by 1. He now has a magic stats of 5, which he was aiming for from the beginning. He sees the message notifying him that a new magic is now available. Its Transcendence, which greatly enhances the caster's physical abilities, grants shield effect proportional to magic stat. He is about to celebrate by jumping around, but he loses his balance and falls on the bed. Well, he feels totally drained right now because of all the tension and the nervousness he had bolted up, but now he is relieved. In fact, he is feeling more thrilled and fun than when he played the game. After some time, Zed, along with Ryu and his sibling, are heading out. Ryu informs that he looked into those scarred-eye, white-haired people he asked about. Turns out there are about 40 of them, and that's not as many as Ryu thought there would be. Additionally, he says that did the job just like Zed suggested. He offered them money and gathered them in one spot. Exactly 34 people showed up. So the one they are looking for has to be among the remaining 6. Do you have the location of those 6 people? Zed asks. Of course. Ryu says that just in case, he even wrote down the exact coordinates. He is pretty sure Zed will find them all by tomorrow. Zed praises Ryu by saying that he likes his style, and because of him, this'll make everything go way smoother. Ryu replies that he can handle way tougher and more complicated stuff too. Zed replies that he knows Ryu is capable, so he doesn't have to burden himself by proving himself every time. He says that he will take responsibility for Ryu and his sibling to the end. He also mentions that Ryu the first comrade he ever met. After hearing this, both of the siblings get emotions. At that moment, a girl recognizes Zed as an Arahant because of his red eyes. Do you know me? Zed asks. The girl replies that if someone in Myers doesn't know about Zed by now, they must be a spy. Because the young Arahant who punished a con man and protected Father Johann and the cathedral. The whole city is buzzing with this news. Zed now realizes that's why people were giving him weird looks. He thought it was because of his eyes, but turns out it was something else entirely. Everyone starts to gather up near Zed and shout saying thank you to Zed for protecting Myers Cathedral. Zed hints Ryu that they need to get out of here. As he is about to leave, he senses a strange energy. He notices that this is the person he has been looking for. It's Larko Cherville. Zed shouts, telling him to stop as he moves in the crowd. Unfortunately, he lost Larko. Zed asks for the location of the 6 places that Ryu mentioned. He decides to go to each place to look for Larko. At first, they searched for building number 203, but the person living inside the building is not Larko. Then, Zed asks for the second location as he jumps out of the window. He continuously kept searching, but he was not able to find Larko. The next location is in the basement level 1, left side room. Zed gets an ominous feeling, so he tells Ryu to go upstairs. He realizes that this might be a booby trap. He uses his lighting transformation before entering the room. As he opens the door, his lightning skill gets deactivated with the activation of his S-rated trait, Immortal Challengers. He witnesses the blue fire. Blue fire is a superior attribute of flame. Even regular fire would be difficult to achieve this level of explosive power with magic tools. But Larko created blue fire with just a booby trap. Is this even possible? Zed wonders. Because of the impact of the blue fire, everything was blown away. If it wasn't for Immortal Challenger this time, Zed would have died instantly. Immortal Challenger is literally a trait that ignores instant death damage. Zed knows it well since he used it often in the game, too. Simply put, with this trait, no one can one-shot kill him. Thinking that he has already been dead once gives him the motivation to find Larko no matter what. He is determined to make Larko his ally. After some time, they are having a conversation that might be blamed for the explosion, even though they were the victims. This is unfair? Why are we suspects? Ryu asks. Zed explains that they were the only ones at the scene. If they can't prove it was an explosion from a trap, they are perfect scapegoats. Plus, Arahant is a fire family, so it will make the incident look more convincing. Ryu suggests that they should escape before the Imperial army arrives. Should I ask for help from the Bahal? He asks. Zed replies that getting involved with Bahal again will cause a commotion, because the Black Mirror reacted very sensitively last time too. As they are talking, the Imperial army has already arrived, telling Zed Arahant to come out. The Myers local garrison General Madden orders his companions to restrain Zed immediately, but in the next moment he stops because he sees the priest's mark on Zed. Is that really a priest's mark? The general asks. Zed replies that it's a mark given by Father Johann of Myers Cathedral. The general introduces himself as Madden, who took office in Myers replacing General Pullman. He informs that there was a big explosion in town earlier, and Zed's name came up in witness statements. Zed replies that he was directly caught in that explosion. "May I ask why you were there?" Zed explains he was looking for someone and happened to enter, but there was a trap set up and got caught up in it. He was quite shocked too. Zed knows that because of the priest's mark, no matter how suspicious he is, no one can't treat him as a criminal carelessly. Maybe this could be a blessing in disguise? He thinks because having the local garrison's help would make finding the completely hidden Larko much easier. So, he asks for his help. The general replies, "The Imperial Army can't move for personal matters. They can't waste public authority without any justification." Then Zed shows the investigator's insignia for justification. "How do you have that, Mr. Zed?" the general asks, while being shocked. Zed says that he received it from Investigator Cox, while informing that he heard that showing this insignia would allow him to receive help from Imperial forces. Madden replies, saying, "Oh, of course. By solemn Imperial law, they are required to cooperate as much as possible with requests from insignia holders." Zed says that this isn't his personal matter. It's also about catching the perpetrator of the explosion incident. It's exactly what the local garrison should be doing. Madden announces that from this moment, Meyer's local garrison will assist Mr. Zed. Then Zed suggests that they should start by drawing the perpetrator's appearance and orders them to find someone suitable for the job. The next morning, the Imperial Army hung a picture of a person with a bounty of 50,000 gold, while telling the informants to come to the elm tree outside the south gate. Additionally, it says that if the perpetrator isn't found within 3 days, the entire city will be sealed and searched. Meanwhile, Larko, who is among the crowd seeing the bounty notice, thinks whether Zed saw his face wrong. But then he realizes that Zed must know that he uses disguise. That's why his picture was deliberately drawn wrong. "Maybe he wants to meet me," Larko concludes. He leaves the area, thinking that he will know what Zed's scheming when he meets him. Larko says that he doesn't even know how many cities this makes. He is sick of being a fugitive. Maybe it's time to end this. He thinks that he has lived long enough to have no regrets left now. While walking, he sees that quite a crowd has gathered. He is about to hide among them and observe, but then he gets caught by Zed. Zed praises Larko for his professional-level disguise. He tells Larko to act naturally, or else if he arouses suspicion, soldiers will swarm him. "Who are you? And why are you looking for me?" Larko asks. Zed introduces himself as an Arahant and suggests that they change location before having a conversation. After changing the location, Zed reveals his face while informing that he is the 7th heir of the Arahant family. "If you know me, why did you seek me out?" Zed says that the reason for seeking a legendary blacksmith is quite simple. It's solely because he wants to hire Larko Cherville as Arahant's exclusive craftsman.